Hasan gets in a room with 20 conservatives. The results are pretty much what you would expect them to be. I'm saying this before I even watch the thing. Let's talk about it, y'all. Middle America.
And you ain't black.
I don't know what I said.
The first time ever any...
What are you people?
We're Americans. We are Americans indeed. My name is Vincent, and this is Middle America, where we are not left-wing, we are not right-wing, we're just right. I have not shot in a very, very long time, dear listener. I was telling the crew that I haven't shot in such a long time because I just didn't feel like I had much value to contribute. There's a lot of acrimony happening right now. There's a lot of hurt feelings, as you could say. Not necessarily hurt feelings, but just really sort of, like I said, acrimonious discussions, and I'm not particularly certain I had much to say of value, because I have no real interest in furthering the divide of my country. I'm a big fan of the United States of America, and quite frankly, the division and all the rest of it is killing me. Hey, Amy, good to see you! As if you're the first one here. No way. So, good to see you, Amy. So, yeah, like, I really didn't think I had much in the way of positivity to say. So, I have been quiet on the Middle of America front for a while, but, I was doing a Facebook chat, and folks were telling me that Mehdi Hasan had done one of these Jubilee things, you know, one of these surrounded things in Jubilee where there's like 20 people and they're just peppering you with questions and it's just you. So here we are. So I'm gonna be watching this. I'm gonna be watching this with y'all. Like I said in the intro, I'm not sure how well this is gonna go, but let's check it out, shall we? And hopefully, Mehdi can come to some sort of mutual agreement with fellow Americans. Amy, let me know the levels, how the levels are going with the background music, etc., etc. Okay. All right, guys. Well, let's get into it without any further ado. Here is Mehdi Hasan in Surrounded. We've never done one of these before in Middle America history, so this is going to be a new one for us. All right, guys, here we go. Strap in. One progressive versus 20 far-right conservatives. God bless Mehdi Hasan. Let's do it. Dwayne! Good to see you, baby.
My family lineage is settlers from the 1500s.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
colonials. You don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
You're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
I'm Mehdi Hasan. I'm a journalist. I'm the editor of Zeteo. And today I'm surrounded by 20 far-right conservatives.
Oh my God.
My first claim is Donald Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal.
Donald Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal. Well, let's just see what argument he makes. I didn't really find it compelling when the whole BLM uprising stuff was happening and they're like, the Democrats promote crime. I didn't find that as a compelling argument, and I don't find this idea that Trump is pro-crime and pro-criminal, I think. But anyway, let the man have his day in court. Let's see.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mehdi.
I would just like to ask, what makes someone pro-crime versus, anti-crime?
Yeah.
I think when you're soft on criminals, when you let criminals out of prison, when you pardon people who've assaulted police officers, you're pro.
Okay, so this is the did that white boy just call himself a Native American? I believe he did. I believe he did. Okay, so he's gonna go with the J6 stuff. He pardoned the J6 guys. The J6 guys were criminals, therefore Trump is pro-crime. Okay, that's kind of a weak argument to me, but okay.
Criminal. Donald Trump pardoned almost 1,600 people who were involved in January the 6th. I think 600 of them had been charged with assaulting.
Hold on, let me see the fact check. According to the Attorney's Office for the District, approximately 1,570. Yeah, that's 1,600 people. Okay. He pardoned 1,600 people. La ilaha illallah. What's up, Jay?
Police officer or obstructing a police officer. 170 had pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. 70 had pled guilty to assault with a deadly weapon. J.D. Vance said, we're not going to pardon the violent criminals from January 6th. Donald Trump.
I remember that. I remember that. He was like, yeah, obviously we're not going to pardon, like, the people that were violent. You know, the people that were, like, jamming the cops with the... And then the next day, Trump pardoned all the violent criminals. We continue.
Pardon all of them. Are you okay with that?
I would say January 6th is a very special case. I would say it's almost a climax point in history. I would just phrase the question this way. Right now in the LA protests, if they were to, just for example, they were to rush the capital of LA, I mean, they'd have to move over all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But if they were managed to get into the Capitol and they were just protesting, peacefully, let's say police officers were rushing them in. They were letting them in and saying, hey, you guys can go in, like we have many testimonies that say.
What about?
Well, we have videos of that where the police were letting them in, but they were overwhelmed by hundreds of people and they had no support. So
The violent ones, though.
Okay, violent ones like
Like
what?
a man named David Dempsey, a judge, a Reagan-appointed judge, sentenced him to 20 years in prison. He stomped on police officers' heads. The judge said his conduct was exceptional.
David Dempsey was sentenced to 20 years in prison for 2 felony counts of assaulting, resisting, or impeding officers with a deadly or dangerous weapon. Yeah, I mean, that guy was on camera almost killing dude.
Egregious. He attacked police officers with flagpoles and pepper spray. Donald Trump pardoned him. There's a man named Daniel Rodriguez. He got 12 years in prison for taking a stun gun and tasing a police officer in the neck and giving him a heart attack. The judge said he was a one-man army of hate. Donald Trump pardoned him. Does that not make Trump pro-criminal? He's letting violent criminals out of prison.
I would say.
First of all, every U.S. president has done a bunch of weird pardons that I just think it's a weak argument to say that he's pro-criminal. I think he is pro people that are loyal to him, and I think he's always going to protect the people that are loyal to him. But I don't know that makes him pro-criminal.
No, it doesn't make him pro-criminal.
You're okay with that?
I did not say that. I said that one pardon against somebody.
It was 1,600 pardons. 600 of those were people charged
one
with...
example that you just gave me.
I can give you more. Should I keep going?
Fine.
Shane
And I'll say the
Jenkins.
exact same thing every single
Then
time.
your argument will fall apart because it's
Okay,
not just
go
one
for
example
it.
if I
Go
keep
for it.
going.
Go for it.
Well, if you're going to say the same thing before you even hear what he says, then this whole stereotype of like the Trump cultist who can't think, like this is where it comes from, because you're basically saying there's nothing you could say to that Mehdi could say to prove or disprove what you're doing. So, I mean, this doesn't really help the MAGA case, but whatever.
Then.
Okay, Shane Jenkins got 7 years in prison for 9 criminal offenses, attacking police with a deadly weapon, destroying government property.
How do
Trump pardoned
pardons
him.
that probably shouldn't have happened turn into pro-crime?
So you've agreed that they shouldn't have been pardoned?
Sure, but that wasn't your claim. Was January 6th? Your claim was Trump is pro-crime.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he
good
pardons
point.
criminals.
Okay, I
He
would say that
pardoned
that's a
not-
fault.
Let's talk about non-January
Well, you
6th
could
people.
only pardon
He pardoned
criminals,
people
right?
like Paul Walchuk recently, who took millions of dollars from his own employees, was sentenced to tax crimes, had to pay back $4 million. Trump pardoned him. He bought himself a $2 million yacht. Why is he pardoning criminals like that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you should. I don't think really presidential pardons should be a thing at all. But I
agree.
I don't think that.
All right, pause.
That means something.
You've been voted out by the.
I don't know. I think that kid did a pretty good job. I don't think Mehdi should have started out that way. Like, I'm not convinced that Trump is pro. I obviously didn't agree with the vast majority of those pardons. I do think, though, that some of those convictions were political. Obviously, if you're beating the hell out of people and things like that, then sure, lock them up and throw away the key. But I also think that there are a lot of people that just got caught up in the moment that ended up having records and their lives ruined and all the other shit because people wanted to make a point. And, like, I understand, like, people, okay, like, maybe you had a point. Like, okay. But I don't know.
Majority, please return to your seat.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Mehdi.
What is it?
Mehdi.
You're from northern UK, I guess?
I'm from London, North London.
Okay, fair enough. What's your ethnic background, if you don't mind my asking?
My parents are from India.
Okay, perfect. Just getting premise here. First of all, I want to say
The premise of Donald Trump being pro-crime.
No. I want to concern myself with why you care about what's happening in the U.S., first and foremost. Secondly, I want to say this. With the argument,
should people who live in the U.S. not care about?
Let's not interrupt each other. Because I have this thing, people know I have this thing. I have to stay calm, okay? So here's the thing. I am happy that he released J6. In fact,
They're not sending their best, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's about to have like some meltdown. I've got anger issues. Like, what?
so much so that I was prepared to protest if he didn't.
Okay.
So when you say, are you okay that he's pro-crime? Sure, because you know what? We're changing the definition of what crime is, first and foremost.
You don't think stomping on police officers' heads is a crime?
I don't think it's no longer a relevant conversation anymore. You're
Really?
arguing. No, it's not, because you know what? Okay, have you seen the U.S. in the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, I've
BLM
lived
protests.
there for a
Have you
while.
seen? Okay, I myself have been involved in these protests. I've seen egregious things that you couldn't even imagine.
So we have
being
no
done
rules
to
then?
conservatives. It's not about that. It's
about?
about tribal warfare.
Okay.
That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the U.K. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own stakes.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how
Yes.
you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the
Not
thing.
sure how you got that. Okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the
Okay.
claim here. Okay.
But you're
a little different.
But you're
than
a
yours.
descendant of immigrants, settlers,
I didn't know.
colonialists.
Yeah,
You don't
colonials.
look, you don't
yeah.
look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites
not.
are Native Americans. What are you
Sorry.
talking about? What are you talking about? Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I,
What was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with.
I don't mind going on
I
a
think
tangent,
I
but
think
what was
you're
happening
getting-
before the
Calm
1500s?
down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from
Do you know what
Asia.
indigenous means?
Listen, before
Indigenous
America,
people
Let-
can't
you
come
know, let
from
me
somewhere
finish.
else.
Why do you ask a question?
Your tax. Hey, your tax dollars at work in the public school system. Shout out to the Incredible Hulk. Shout out to Evil Pear. Shout out to Hunter. We continue.
You're going to interrupt.
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It
Doesn't
means
sound
they
like it.
came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an American?
I genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just
so
checking.
My point is, okay?
Nothing to do with crime. So far, you've agreed with me that these people
Because
are
you're
criminals.
derailing, dude. I'm trying
You
to stay on
literally
track.
sat down and asked me where I'm from. I think you
I
derailed this
think you got
conversation from the
offended by
get-go.
that, but I'm
Right.
because
I'm not
I'm always
offended. I'm
curious-
just wondering what it
because
has to do
I'm
with crime.
always curious.
We're going to talk about
why-
immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime
I just
and
got a
pro-criminal.
round of applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I
Is
don't
this,
think
is
I'm
this
doing
how
as
you
bad.
get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing.
I'm-
Amazing. That
well,
must
wait
make you
till
feel
this
good.
comes out. You know what? I'm
20
actually
people
glad
who agree
you're
with
getting
you
this
applauded you.
emotionally outraged right
Wow.
now. This is great.
I love it.
Do I have to say anything at this point, or are you just going
Please.
to keep going?
Please.
Okay.
Make your claim.
My claim is that I don't care if it's pro-crime. You want to
Okay,
go back
so
to the
so I-
topic
so I-
of
so I-
conversation.
that's fine, we agree then. He's pro-crime
But
and you
I have
don't
a
care.
question for you, though. Do you care on the opposite side of the spectrum?
Yes.
Do you care about law being administered
Yes.
to the opposite side of the
Yes.
spectrum?
I think
when they're
anyone
doing
who
the
assaults.
Yeah, like this is the other thing where like during the BLM stuff, like the conservatives were saying, oh, they're just letting crime run rampant. And we've got like hundreds of videos of these cops jamming up these people, slamming 100-pound girls to the ground on their heads. Yet that old man that was bleeding in the back of his head, they just walked right by him. Like this idea that during the BLM protests, folks were just going out with complete impunity while the country was on fire and nobody was held accountable is ridiculous. I saw literal peaceful protests. I can show you guys videos just getting maced. The dude was like, let's love, let's call for love, blah, blah, blah. And the cop maced the shit out the kid. So, he's still carrying on with this ridiculous idea that, but anyway, we continue.
A police officer shouldn't be pardoned. I think that Donald Trump shouldn't have pardoned 9 Republican members of Congress who were convicted of crimes, and I don't think Joe Biden should commit. I don't think Democrats should pardon Democrats.
Fair, but I don't think you understand where we are in the U.S. then.
I think I do.
No, because you're arguing from a position of like a U.S. that doesn't exist anymore. Okay. We're headed towards
nihilism, no laws, nothing matters.
It's not about
everyone's pro-crime.
It's not about that. It's that conservatives conservatives for too long have been playing it safe. They've been playing by the law. They've been playing by the law. Yes, they have.
Maybe you missed the Bush presidency. Did you live here during the Bush years?
Conservatives are
didn't play by the law, George W. Bush. Nor did Ronald.
I think he's talking about Iraq. It's an illegal war at the ICC, UN level, I guess you could say. But this is one of these guys that are really, really dangerous people, right? Like, no disrespect to him, but not very high on the intelligence scale, very high on the passion scale. Is internet intelligent, and looks like he could do some serious damage, and is buying into sort of this victim-y. Conservatives have been too law-abiding for too long, so now that we got our guy in office who is completely giving the finger to the law and the concept of law itself, these are people who see Trump as the incarnation of them, and they don't really realize that that's not the case. Very dangerous guy.
Let's be respectful to you. Let me finish.
I'm not sure you've been that respectful, but okay.
I'm trying to bring it back, so let's both bring it back,
That's
okay?
good.
I'm conservative, okay?
Really?
Let me tell you this. We do play it too safe. We've been playing it by the book for too long. Okay. At this point, gloves are off, right? The left has made their point. They're willing to do...
the police force in Washington, the left?
Yes! Are you kidding me? The left? Are you insane?
Police officers.
Look at LA right here. You think those stand down?
You think the LAPD are a bunch of liberal Marxists?
No, but I think they listen to liberal Marxists who tell them what to do. Okay. I think they listen to who signs their paychecks at the end of the day.
Can I just check, because you're doing lots of little diversions. We both agree Donald Trump's pro-crime. You're just fine with it.
No,
is that the position?
I don't.
That's what you've said so far.
I don't agree with
basically the position.
I don't agree with your definition.
What's your definition of crime?
It doesn't
Stomping
matter.
on a police officer's head is not a crime. That's your definition of crime as the Native American.
I am Native American. So, going back to the topic at hand, we have different definitions of crime because you're talking about...
There's a criminal code in this country. It's called the U.S. Criminal Code.
You know what? Let's focus on what we agree on. I'm sure you and I actually agree on a lot more.
Do we agree that people shouldn't stomp on police officers' heads? Can we agree on that? If you don't agree on that, then I really think this conversation is kind of pointless.
No, because first of all, you're saying what? That the police have the authority, that they're given the authority. I don't accept the authority that's been given by liberal
conservative position. I'm a conservative or pro-police.
Then you don't know what a real... Hey, listen, you're in a room with juggernauts right now, okay?
I'm
telling you right now.
Juggernauts, ladies and gentlemen.
If we're going to struggle with the English language for the next couple of hours, then
what you're up against right now, okay?
100%.
Yeah. Newsflash.
You have no idea what you're up against.
Okay? Neocons, libertarians, all those mainstream people, they might as well be leftists to me, okay? That's how far to the right I am.
Okay,
you understand my
this
position?
guy, he's not serious.
When you say, get him out of here. Obeying police, why would I give the authority to police? Do you know here in America?
Do you think Donald Trump should be pardoning 9 members of Congress who committed financial crimes? Are you pro-financial crime? Are you pro-financial crime?
All right,
Thomas Timbo is?
Pause.
I think the people who clapped you are voting.
Yeah. This guy's not really serious. Like, this is like the, the warm up or the whatever or the. What's up, Hoyle? Good to see you, baby. This is the warm up. This is the, you know what I mean? Like this guy wasn't really a serious actor. Come on.
No. All right, head back to your seat. You've been voted out by the majority.
Nice to meet you.
Hi there.
Sir. How are you?
Hey,
So I'm going to be as respectful about this as possible, but the truth is your claim is completely bad faith. You do not care about being anti-crime. You yourself are pro-crime. Your side is pro-crime because you're a progressive.
How am I pro-crime?
So I'll give you an example, right? So your side, not Donald Trump, has passed a series of laws in California. Let's go with California. It's where we are right now. It's where I'm from. I don't know. Are you from California?
All right, this guy's serious.
So in California, for example, the state legislature, completely progressive, just passed a law that limits sex offender registration to 10 years. It was life before. That's pro-crime. The legislature in California, which is progressives again, has passed a law that says the voter-induced three-strike law is no longer absolute. If someone murders someone, stabs someone on 3 separate occasions, a judge now does not have to give them life. That's a progressive law. That is not. That is pro-crime. You support that, don't you?
I actually don't support sex offenders coming off a list. I think they should be on for life.
Okay, so you disagree with progressives.
So hold on. You and I both agree that sex offending is a bad thing, especially child sex offending, right?
It seems like you and I agree on that.
I agree
the
on that.
legislature of California
he's going to get him. He's going to get him with Epstein.
I'm here to debate Donald Trump being pro-crime.
He's going to get
Epstein. I'm saying that Donald Trump was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. When Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the worst child sex trafficker of our lifetime, she's serving over 20 years. Do you know Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah, she's actually not. Jeffrey Epstein's the worst sex trafficker.
He's dead. I'm talking about people alive right now.
It's interesting, though, you didn't use his name, right? Wouldn't he be the one who did this?
Oh, great. I'm glad you brought up Jeff.
This is not age. This is not going to age well for this guy. I don't know when they taped this. They must have taped this before Trump had his meltdown on Epstein, where he said the Epstein list was a hoax and anybody who fell for it was weak and crazy or whatever. I wish they would do a follow-up. This is not going to go well for this kid.
Jeffrey Epstein, before he died, did an interview with Michael Wolff. He's on tape. I don't know if you heard the tape. He says, my closest friend was Donald Trump. I was his closest friend. Elon Musk, I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He tweeted recently that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files. Yes. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the right-hand woman of Jeffrey Epstein, when she was on trial for child sex offending, which you and I are opposed to.
I wish her well.
Donald Trump stood up and said, good luck to her. I wish her well. Yeah. So, yeah, that makes him pro-crime and pro-criminal if he's being soft on child 100%. Sex traffickers
well, you just said they
like
were his
Epstein.
Friends.
No, I'm saying he was friends. He was friends with Epstein. You haven't seen the videos? They danced together, partied together. Epstein said I was his closest friend.
He's not supported the pedophilia part. The only people supporting pedophilia
that's not
are
true.
the left.
Trump gave a speech about 20 years ago where he said Epstein's a great guy. He loves young women. A lot of them are very young. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, laugh, laugh. So yeah, I think he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
So you think he's pro-crime for having a friend who's a criminal? Do you have any friends who are criminals?
Not that I know of. Certainly not child sex offenders. No. Do you?
If it came, no.
Oh no! Oh no! No, I do not have friends who have fucking pedophile rings and shit, kid. No. What are you talking about? I don't have any friends who are pedophiles. And if they were, I would definitely not wish them well if they ended up on trial for fucking up a bunch of little kids. I wouldn't wish them well. My God, what in the world?
Of course not.
Okay, so we're both in agreement again. So why are you defending Donald Trump?
If it came out tomorrow that one of your friends was a child sex trafficker,
you know what I'd do?
You'd stop being friends with them.
Yes, and I wouldn't say...
And then I'd go on TV and I would say, oh, look, Mr. Hasan was friends with this guy 10...
Yeah, but he wouldn't get on TV and say, I wish them well. What the fuck?
Years ago. Therefore, he's pro-child sex trafficking.
What if Mr. Hasan said, I wish them well when they're on trial? Wouldn't you ever go at me for that?
You wish your friend well on trial?
Yeah, child sex trafficker. Would you be mad?
I wouldn't wish someone well, but that's
Donald
your
Trump
gotcha.
Did.
That's your...
That guy's got weird hands, bro. Those hands are really, really big.
Gotcha.
It's a pretty big gotcha.
He wished a friend
pretty
well.
big gotcha.
Okay.
He praised
what you're really trying to do right now is you're trying to get back to Donald Trump on a personal level.
Elon Musk says his name.
What's his policy?
Oh, you want to talk policies?
Yes.
So when he left office in 2020, he left behind the highest murder rate for over 100 years.
According to the Brookings Institute, the murder rate increased 30% across U.S. cities in 2020. The spike was connected to local unemployment and school closures in low-income areas. Yeah, you can't. I'm not going to blame that on Donald Trump. I'm not going to blame that on Donald Trump. There was a lot of defund the police shit happening. To be honest with you, a lot of people don't realize this. The police were basically rebelling. I know for a fact that... I'm not going to get into this. But I don't really blame Trump for the increase in crime. I mean, the COVID and the COVID mandates might have had something to do with it. Crime across the board went up during COVID, bro. Like, honestly. Like, domestic violence, everything spiked exponentially during COVID for obvious reasons. So, I'm not going to put that on Trump.
Left
Between
behind
20
the highest murder.
yes.
That is the most bad faith claim you
No,
could
no,
possibly make.
it's a fact from the CDC
and you know
data.
what? Here's why it's bad faith.
Can I finish a sentence and then you can come back in?
You're just lying to people. Donald
I'm
Trump.
lying?
Yes,
Can I finish the sentence?
Donald Trump does not cause the
Can
murder
I-
rate.
can I-
Murder is a state
Oh,
level
that's
crime.
hilarious.
Gavin
Conservatives
Newsom is
spent-
more responsible for the murder rate than Donald Trump is.
That's hilarious. So Donald Trump's not responsible for murder rate, but other politicians who are Democrats
Yes,
are.
because
Well, yeah, because we're the United States of America, right? So I'm pretty sure Gavin Newsom's the governor. So the governor would or the mayor would have way more of a direct impact of the crime rate and the murder rate in California than the president, than at the federal level. My God, of course.
the
Everyone
state
can see
level
your
law.
partisanship.
That's like saying no. I'll say Republicans are too.
Let's-
State governors who are soft on crime are the ones that are
Let
responsible
me finish
for
a
murder
sentence.
rates.
When Donald Trump left office in 2020, between 2019 and 2020, according to data from the CDC, from the FBI, from Pew Research, the 30% increase in the murder rate between 2019 and 2020. It was the single biggest jump in the murder rate since 1905.
And who's doing
so he's
who's
pro-crime
doing the murdering?
and
Aren't they
pro-criminal.
responsible? Who's doing the murdering?
The murderers.
So aren't they responsible
But
for
why
the
did it
murder
go
rate?
up on his watch?
What?
Why did it go up on his watch?
Gee,
He's
that's
very
a real
bad.
hard. That's
he's
a real
very
hard
bad
one.
at fighting crime.
That's a
for
real hard one to
Republicans.
figure out, right? We shut down the whole economy during COVID. We told everyone they couldn't go out unless it was to violently protest. We told people that if a cop tries to arrest you, that cop's probably going to get charged with murder.
No, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it. But
Right,
the
so
pandemic
did he
didn't
cause
finish
that?
in 2020.
What?
The pandemic didn't finish in
No, but
2020.
you
and yet
asked
you
why
all,
the murder rate
and
went
yet
up.
if we're
The
going to
murder
play the
rate
what
went up
about game,
because of
you
all
guys
these
blame Joe
factors.
Biden for crime for years.
What Joe
For
Biden
years.
actively induces policies that are pro-crime. I'm asking
So
you
does
for a
Donald
single-
Trump. Okay.
Name the policy
I'll
that's
name one right
pro-crime.
now. I'll name
Please.
one right
I've asked
now.
you for like 10 minutes.
I'll name
Please
one right
do
now.
that.
No, you haven't actually. You talked
What-
about
some of
California
them.
legislatures. He pardoned violent criminals
That's
who
not-
then went
that's
on
not a policy.
to commit
He
other
did-
crimes. You don't think releasing violent crimes into
A
the
pardon is
community?
a one-time thing. What's his policy
Do you know-
he has pushed? Name a law he
Hold
has
on, no.
signed.
A pardon
What
is a
law has he
one-time
signed?
thing. Is a policy is not one-time
That's
thing.
like Jimmy Carter pardoned the
You
draft. No,
guys
listen.
may want to dodge January 6th, the pardons.
I'm not dodging that.
Then
Jimmy
deal with
Carter.
it. Did you
okay,
agree with
I'm
them?
gonna right now.
Do you agree with
Jimmy
them?
Carter
Do you
pardoned
agree with
draft
the pardons?
dodgers. Does that mean his
I don't,
policy was
I don't
no one
support
has to...
Jimmy Carter. Do you
Okay.
support the pardoning of people who went on to be prosecuted for sexually abusing a 7-year-old child, illegal gun possession, reckless homicide?
Now, see,
These are people
there's
who
more bad
released-
faith. See,
these are
there's
people
more
who
bad
released
faith.
from
He
prison.
didn't pardon someone for sexually abusing a
No, but
child.
they went
He
on to be
pardoned
convicted
someone
of it.
for
So
rebelling
that's
against the government that they believed
No,
had
they-
rigged elections. That's what he pardoned them for. He didn't pardon them for
No.
sexual child abuse.
But they were criminals who committed those crimes. He let them out. So that means
Now,
the
you
crime
say,
rate
now,
goes up.
so you say they're criminals because they did the crime, right?
I mean, that's heinous. That's absolutely heinous. It's horrible. But that's not the same as being pro-crime and initiating a policy in the country that's going to engender more crime. I just think this is it's a bad argument. I think you could say it's horrible. The J6 stuff is horrible. A blanket pardon for everybody was horrible. 100% agree. But this doesn't make any sense to me what he's arguing.
Would you extend that to illegal immigrants, that they're all criminals because they committed a crime? I have a
No,
feeling your
the
position
Supreme Court. We're going to talk about immigration.
Someone who's illegally entered the United States, not a criminal, but
not
somebody who
according to the
illegally
Supreme
entered the
Court.
capital
Not
is.
according to the Supreme Court of the United States.
The Supreme
2012,
Court
I
has
know
said
exactly
that anyone who
where
enters
he's
the
gonna
United
go to
States
that
illegally
Arizona
is not
Supreme
a
Court,
criminal.
and we can
What's the case
jump
site?
to
Can I get
future
the case
claims.
site? Can I get the
We
case
can
site?
jump to 20.
Can I-
You want to get the case?
The case site, please. You
want-
said the Supreme Court
The
said,
citation of the case.
Yes, that entering
It's
the United
called-
States illegally is not a crime.
It's called Arizona versus United States 2012. Go look it up.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
That wasn't a good one.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you, sir?
Nice to meet you,
Nice
Mehdi.
to meet you. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. I really just more want to get an understanding when you say pro-criminal.
Just looking at this guy, Mr. Sanchez, don't be mad at me, but I get the feeling that 2/3 of the people that you're sitting around would not be on your side when the revolution comes. Just a guess. We continue.
What do you mean?
I mean that when confronted with people who've committed criminal acts, Donald Trump has been either soft on them, friendly with them, pardoned them, and of course, let's not forget, I mean, we've got 5 minutes left, I'm surprised it hasn't come up earlier. He's a convicted criminal himself sitting in the White House.
Okay, I want to make sure I
34 felony
understand you correctly because
Yes.
I don't want to strawman you.
No,
You're saying
I appreciate that.
every time that he's been confronted,
Not every time. I
most
didn't say
times,
the words every time.
most times,
A lot of the time.
a lot of the times,
Yes.
he's leaned towards criminal activity.
I didn't say criminal activity. He has committed
Endorsed
crimes.
criminal.
He's been indicted for
Correct.
88 different criminal offenses in 4 different jurisdictions by 5 different grand juries. He was convicted himself on 34 different criminal offenses by a jury of his peers.
Okay.
But let's park that for a moment.
Okay.
separate to his own crimes, when
Right.
confronted with the crimes of others, or the alleged crimes of others, for example, a Chinese crypto billionaire called Justin Sun, who was being investigated for market manipulation. Trump dropped the case, invited him to the golf course, invited him to the White House,
Plenty of examples.
and the guy
plenty of
invested
examples.
$70 million in Trump's
Okay,
cryptocurrency.
so what I want to ask you
That's
this.
pro-crime in my
so
view.
is it possible, because remember, the burden of proof.
No, I don't think all the Trump indictments were nonsense. The sexual assault stuff definitely wasn't nonsense. He got hit with like 28 counts or whatever. I don't think that's nonsense at all. He got convicted by a jury of his peers of 28 counts of sexual assault, which I think the presiding judge in New York said that it would have been classified as grape were it not for a certain, statute code in New York City. So that's not irrelevant.
Right? You have to prove. Is it possible that all these things that he's done that supposedly make him pro-crime, there's another reason for the doing it? There's other justification. For example, let me give an example, and then you can rebut it. The J6.
Yes.
Is it possible that he could have done this to unite the country? If it's even possible, I think you would have to admit that there's another possibility. Therefore, he's not.
He let the J6ers free to unite the country? What are you talking about? That was one of the most divisive things he did right out of the gate. What are you talking about? Even J.D. Vance was against some of that stuff.
Pro-crime, at least in possibility.
So let me agree and disagree.
Yep, okay.
So I agree with you that the intent could be different. I don't think Donald Trump was sitting there saying, how can I increase the level of murders? Let me release some murderers.
Right.
I'm not saying he did that on January 6th.
Right.
I don't think he was trying to unite the country. That's where we disagree. That's bullshit. In fact, he divided the country further. But intent doesn't really matter to my claim. If he's releasing violent criminals,
Wait.
it doesn't
Intent
matter.
doesn't matter?
No, he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
No, but that's a big indictment to say pro-crime. That means
If I'm
he's
confronted,
for crime.
I'm confronted. Well, he is, because, for example, I gave an example.
No. It could
Can I
be
finish?
possible.
I didn't
Okay, sorry,
interrupt you.
forgive me.
Your friend earlier, your ally, said, where has he done stuff that's increased the crime rate? I'm telling you, people have been pardoned who have been convicted on multiple other crimes. These people who we pardoned had previous criminal records. They were not just some folks chilling around and go, we're against the takeover of our country, we're opposed to rebellion. A lot of these people were already hardened criminals, militia members. He looked at those people and said, you know what? They've been convicted, in many cases, by Republican judges, but I'm going to let them out. Yeah, that makes
Can I
you
ask you a question?
pro-criminal.
Is it possible?
Very
Okay,
much so.
all I'm trying to-
And if Joe Biden had done it, you'd...
Yeah, but just because they're militia members doesn't mean they're actual criminals. Like, stigmatizing militia members, I'm not cool with. Like, you be part of a militia and not be a crazy, horrible person. Like...
attacking him.
Sure. Is it possible that their conviction was part of a plea? It's like, oh shit, I can't get out of this, so I got to take a plea deal.
Some of them, maybe.
A lot of them, maybe?
Others we saw with our own lying eyes on tape, battering police officers.
So I want to eventually...
Did you watch live on January 6th? What happened?
To be completely honest, I'm pretty novice on this.
Okay.
I'm more trying to target... You're saying he's pro-crime, and in my head,
I'm
just
saying,
thinking this logically... let me finish,
just,
if I can finish for
please.
1 second. If thinking this... there's a possibility that he might have had other reasons. For example, unifying the country.
Yep.
Next chapter, right? That could be the
Unifying
reason.
the
Therefore, it's not
country.
pro-crime. There was other reasons. I'm just saying that's a possibility. And if that's
And I'm saying it's a possibility, but I'm saying it's irrelevant, because if you're knowingly releasing violent criminals out into the community, pardoning, not just releasing, then yes, you are being pro-criminal. And I've interviewed police officers.
I don't know about that
I've
case, but
interviewed police officers who have been assaulted, beaten, had to retire from the police office, broken bones.
Can I move really quick?
I'll finish very quickly. I've interviewed these police officers. They've been beaten by people who they've then seen walk off the streets and then carry on threatening them. Yes, when Donald Trump is responsible for that, you're definitely pro-crime.
Okay, I doubt a
All
lot
right,
of the sources,
pause.
but...
You doubt police officers who testified to being assaulted?
You've
Wow.
been voted out by the majority. Please return
Nice
to your
to meet you.
seat.
Thanks.
Yeah, then he should announce those reasons. But the reasons are obvious. Those people were loyal to him. They were good soldiers for him. He told them to stand by or whatever. They responded to the call, and he's a loyal guy, and he got him out. Those were his reasons. It has nothing to do with uniting the country. He did that because of him. But look, all presidential pardons for the most part to me are bullshit. Like, Biden pardoned his son, and in my opinion, his son is also a horrible, terrible, evil individual who should spend the rest of his life in prison. Like, Mehdi using the pardon thing as indicative of, oh, that means he's pro-crime, then every president is pro-crime. And fine, you can make the argument, fine, every president is pro-crime, but what does that have to do with Trump specifically? Trump took the thing to the extreme, I agree, but I'm sorry, this is just not very compelling to me at this point.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Nice to meet you, Mehdi.
So you claim that your main claim is that Trump pardoned some people from January 6th. By the way, I was there. I saw it all.
Pardoned all of them.
About a football field away. There's smoke in my eyes. Bloodied. It was a crazy day.
Were you convicted of any crimes?
No, of course not, because I didn't enter the building. Staying very peaceful. But your entire claim is that he pardoned.
That's not my entire claim.
Your bet's basically you keep bringing it up. All you do is bring it up.
Okay, I'll mention some other people.
Let me say this.
Are you okay with his pardoning of Paul Wolchak, who
let
stole
me
money
bring
from
this
his
up.
employees?
You keep talking about
9 former
pardoning.
members of Congress. That's
You
my
keep talking
claim.
about pardoning.
He keeps pardoning criminals. That makes him.
You know who else
pro-criminal.
pardoned a big criminal?
Go on.
Hunter Biden was pardoned by his father.
I don't think
He
he should
did
have done
crack
that.
cocaine,
He should have done
and
that.
he had hookers there too.
I'm with you all. I'm with you all.
But then why don't you claim
go
that
check my
Biden? Why
Twitter.
don't you claim that
I
Biden
think Joe
is
Biden in that
pro-crime?
instance was pro-crime. He shouldn't have done it.
Well,
he
so
shouldn't
he
have
was
done it.
overall
In
pro-crime
that
because he did that
instance.
No,
one.
but Joe Biden didn't just. So if it was just a pardon, then you'd be fine. But I already mentioned there's also the fact that Joe Biden wasn't actually a convicted criminal in office. Trump has committed crimes. Trump hangs around with criminals. He spent much of the 80s hanging around with the New York mob. He hung around with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, that whole that's
I can keep going.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in West Palm Beach, the area, and that's the closest golf course he could go to.
Do you think?
And he's very,
do you
very
think
rich,
Donald
so
Trump
he
is in the
paid-
Epstein
So he
files?
paid.
Do you think Donald Trump is in the Epstein
As soon
files?
as Trump found out,
Do you think
that
Donald Trump is in
Epstein-
the Epstein files?
No, I do not. And here,
What? Is he
let me explain this.
Okay.
He lived in the area in Mar-a-Lago, near Mar-a-Lago, so he bought, obviously, a ticket to go in there.
Yep.
As soon as Trump found out that Epstein had done all those bad things, immediate ban
That's
from
not true,
Mar-a-Lago.
but okay.
Immediate ban
It's
from
not
Mar-a-Lago.
true.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 100%.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
So,
A book called the Crifters Club alleged Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for hitting on another member's daughter.
Some of the girls that were abused from Mar-a-Lago.
So listen to this.
From Mar-a-Lago. That's pretty outrageous, right?
Elon Musk tweeted that out in a fit of rage. Okay. Do you really?
Sometimes
do
people
you
tell
really
the truth
think,
when they're angry.
Do you really
the
think,
truth comes out when people are angry sometimes.
So Kash
we
Patel,
might see that today.
Kash Patel literally said that Elon Musk had no access to the Epstein files. So
Kash Patel said that Epstein killed himself. Do you agree with that?
Whatever he says goes. Then yeah, I don't care.
You do?
He knows more information.
A
than I
lot
do.
of MAGA people
my
upset
He knows
with
more
Kash Patel
information than I
saying
do.
that.
Look,
But here's,
they're going to
here's
vote
the
this
actual
kid out.
claim
Suddenly
is-
people are trying to vote you out.
I
'cause you
guarantee.
said you
See,
agree with Kash
exactly.
Patel.
He's not going to last another
he knows
30
more
seconds.
information than I do.
Pause. That's
He's
time.
out.
Please return to
He's out.
Surrounded is now a podcast.
What is going
available wherever
on?
you listen. Search Surrounded, plug in, and stay part of the conversation.
That was a waste of 20 minutes, okay? I don't believe that Trump should have pardoned those people, all right? It was terrible that he pardoned those people. But that does not make him pro-crime, okay? He pardoned people he shouldn't have. Every U.S. president has done it. The next president that we elect at the end of his term, he's going to do the same thing. It happens. It is what it is. Some of those people were extremely violent, and yeah, I would love for those people to get their 12 years and their 20 years or whatever, or 50% time served, whatever. But there's a whole bunch of other people who I personally believe were caught up in the maelstrom of all the craziness and did get severe sentencing that they otherwise wouldn't have. And I'm glad that those people, because remember, they're still Americans, they're still our people. I think a lot of those people are normies who got caught up in an emotion, learned their lesson, and now are keeping their head down and being good citizens. And I'm glad that those people are in good shape and learned their lesson. But to say that Trump is pro-crime, look, he's a criminal. I believe he's a rapist. He's done horrible things. He hangs around with shady individuals. I personally believe he's on the Epstein list. All those things are true. You could have went all those different places. But to say he's pro-crime is ridiculous. That was dumb, Mehdi. We continue.
Anywhere, anytime.
My next claim is that Donald Trump is defying the Constitution.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Nice to meet
pleasure
you.
to meet you, sir.
Mehdi, lovely to meet you.
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards to the
I don't care if he's anti-constitution and these people are clapping? What the hell?
Constitution, the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot.
What? What do you mean blasphemy should not be allowed? Secondly, when you sign up after MEPS and everything and you raise your hand to defend the Constitution against its enemies, both foreign and domestic, what do you mean we don't care? We don't care about the Constitution now? What the hell are we talking about? And yeah, if there's things in the Constitution you don't like, we can amend it. We, the people, we can amend the Constitution. You don't throw out the Constitution. What? The First Amendment shouldn't protect blasphemy? What are you talking about? Don't you realize that people fled over here because the Church of England and Bloody Mary was setting folks on fire because they wouldn't co-sign transubstantiation and all the other craziness? What are you talking about, bruh?
Legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay, surprise! I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
whenever
the
it's in
Second
your
Amendment.
favor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
so you don't
it's the
believe in
friend enemy.
democracy?
No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and that's part of the problem.
You don't support Trump?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I didn't even vote for him.
No disrespect, but homeboy in the green, okay, who's clapping like this, bruh. When the revolution comes, you and the brown guy befall are not going to do very well. What the hell is... What am I... Did this man say he's... They're not sending their best. Holy shit.
Wrote in like John Pork or someone.
Why
I can't
did
even
you-
remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted.
This is
I kind
fascinating.
of voted just to.
I came with this
troll a
argument,
little
but I'm
bit,
bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local
Who
leaders,
is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White
me.
people?
Yeah,
No brown
absolutely.
people. So,
Well,
some
actually,
of you guys,
I have quite.
some of the people
I
in this
have
room
quite-
don't make the cut
No,
from what I can
actually,
see visually.
Actually,
Okay.
hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have
mean you
far
took it?
stakes in this country who happen to be
Subsumed.
Hispanic
You
or
took
what have
it.
you.
Okay.
I'm
Like
for
Texas?
defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white and
how-
should stay that
How
way.
does the United States... I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under... Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh,
to
well,
say your name.
I use
Connor-
a pseudonym online,
Fair enough.
but
Connor,
fair enough.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
I didn't ask about
whether-
deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader, such as
Where does he come
Franco.
from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
No, but who picks the autocrat?
frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings
So
were
isn't
paid.
that democracy?
Well, sure. You can.
So wait, so we democratically elect an autocrat and then the autocrat shuts down the rest of the democratic process, basically, is the idea. What?
Have a vote to get to that state.
And then no more votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone, even their own supporters.
Schmitt makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that...
Persecution? He gassed the fuck out of him. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? We're favorably quoting Nazis now? You can't come out and say, yeah, Hitler shouldn't have fucked up all them Jews? You can't say that? Wow, what is happening?
There was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad.
We may have to rename this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic,
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't brandish guns and kill people.
You just refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi
is mutual,
and being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't in a state that I was running. I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis? Yeah. Yes, I concede that.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here? Because I mean, you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi. Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
you
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco supporter.
Well, yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
thing. And you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate? This is democracy. Not what a debate and disagreement
because it is the means to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. Again, I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment we're in is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned
the quiet part loud.
Look at this guy, this green guy. What are you doing?
Even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish...
No. Anybody who's watched this channel knows that I'm not a liberal, whatever. But liberals are not talking about fucking lining people up, sending people to the gulags, which would be the equivalent here. Like, what are we talking about? Okay. I'm just going to say that this guy is like a hardcore, like, this guy's a Nazi. He not very intelligent. He had a pseudonym online. And then he comes out to one of the most famous journalists of our time right now on an extremely cracking program. And his face is there. His name is there. Like, we can reverse look this guy up in about 2 seconds and find out his first, last name, where he lives and everything. And says, a not very intelligent guy. I'm not going to say that this guy represents the right wing, but holy shit. Fuck the Constitution. He just came out and said it. I don't care about the Constitution. We don't care about the Constitution. We need an autocrat in power, which is a diametrically... Look, the Founding Fathers had some serious issues, but this is diametrically opposed. Like, literally down to the Catholicism. The Founding Fathers were absolutely opposed to this kind of idea. This is an anti-American ideology. This specific ideology is anti-American. I hope you understand that. When you put your hand up, after you had your little time at the hotel in MEPS or whatever, you know what I'm talking about if you've ever signed up for any sort of... You swear to defend the Constitution against enemies both foreign and domestic. That's what these dudes died and gave their lives for. What the fuck are we talking about? We're still in July. Why is everybody clapping for this guy when he spoke against the Constitution? How?
I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Very masterful, Mehdi. Just get this guy the fuck out of here.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Holy
Please return to your
shit.
seat.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I can't say the same, but...
yeah, get the fuck out of here. I wouldn't even shake that guy's hand. What are we talking about?
Good to meet you, Mehdi.
Good to meet you, sir. All right. So I kind of want to start at the basics or the foundation. I want to see.
Can I just check?
Yes.
Are you a fascist?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I describe myself as, I think, just a Christian.
Fair enough.
I'm a devout Christian.
Good to hear.
So, I want to start, like, what is your connection to the Constitution, and why do you love it so much? Like, what makes it so important that Trump would defy something like the Constitution to you personally?
Great questions. My first connection is I'm an American citizen. I naturalized American citizen, took a pledge to this country, to the Constitution. As a previous speaker has said, the Constitution's not perfect. A lot of things I don't like about it. I don't like the Second Amendment. There's various amendments. I don't like the way the Senate is set up.
That's why we have an amendment process.
The difference is, I don't think you can just illegally defy the Constitution. I think each and every one of us can just make up whatever we want. Certainly presidents who are elected with an oath, right? Donald Trump took an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. And now when he's asked on television, isn't it your job to uphold the Constitution? He said on NBC, I don't know, which goes against his oath. And I'm identifying specific amendments.
President Trump was asked by NBC if everyone, including those in the country illegally, is entitled to due process under the Fifth Amendment. Trump responded, I don't know. Okay, that's not the same thing as saying he didn't know if he should defend the Constitution or whatever. I've started to see, I don't know is kind of the phrase that people use when they don't want to, come out and say anything definitive on something that they're doing some shady shit about, is what it looks like to me.
Where he is violating. He's only 6 months into his presidency, defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He wants to defy the 22nd Amendment and be president for a third term. This is the problem we have right now. Free speech is under assault.
I don't think we have to worry about the third term thing after the Epstein debacle. I don't think that that's going to be a problem anymore.
Free press is under assault. Due process is under assault. The right to be in your home and not be invaded by federal agents, the Fourth Amendment, is under assault. So that, for me, is a problem.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start to say I really don't find the Constitution that important. I find it to be like a 300-year-old document. And it was created to defy the country that subjugated your ancestors in India. And then your parents probably moved from India to Britain. And then you move here to tell us that we should listen to a piece of paper that you were never even connected to begin with.
No. First of all, the Declaration of Independence was the document we used to defy Britain. The Constitution was what we wrote because it's like, okay, we got the independence. How are we going to run the country, especially considering we're rejecting the monarchical kind of governmental structure that we just came out of? So what governmental structure are we going to adopt? That was the point of the Constitution. It was not to defy the British government. What is going on here? I don't understand this. Like the right wingers that I came up with were hardcore constitutionalists. Like, where is this like antipathy towards the fucking where is this coming from? And secondly, there's almost a sense in which, but I notice this too because I'm an immigrant. Like the commitment to like the American ideals. Because see, when you're born into it, like you can't choose your family, right? You're born into a family. Yeah, I was just listening to a sermon, and because the Bible says that God adopted us, and the guy was talking about how that's such a crazy metaphor, because like when you're a dad, like you don't even, if you don't even want your kid, you can flee, and the government has to find you to get you to pay child support. You know what I'm saying? Because like you did the deed, now you have this kid. There's nothing you can do about it. But in adoption, like somebody chooses you, right? And in immigration and naturalization, the process I went through, the process he went through, somebody's saying, I am choosing America. And so you are choosing, you're actively choosing the ideals and the things of that. And that's why, like, in my family, like, I got a brother in the, we've done public service. Let's say it that way. Right? We'll say it that way. And, like, it's so weird to me to hear somebody who I'm assuming is a native-born American just spit on the Constitution. Like, what are we doing? How? Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You were born here. You're indigenous.
So I want to say, like, if I don't care about it, why do you care about it so much?
How do you run a country without any kind of laws or due process? And by the way, you do care about it, because without the First Amendment, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Well, I agree with the First Amendment, and I think.
So do you agree with Donald Trump's crackdown on the First Amendment? He's imprisoning people for their speech. He's threatening free speech media organizations. He's threatening peaceable assembly. These are all rights under the First Amendment. Why aren't you bothered by that as a conservative who claims to love the First Amendment?
So I don't like the First Amendment. I like free speech.
Okay, so the First Amendment is what guarantees free speech. I'm from the UK, by the way.
Speech.
I'm from the UK, which is a democracy. We don't have the First Amendment. No, that's one of the things I do like about the Constitution. I wish the UK did have a First Amendment.
So people
I'm a
get
journalist.
arrested for praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that, right?
So you're opposed to people being arrested for speech crimes.
Right. I actually had a friend where that actually happened, right? And we had a law group take us up pro bono, and we have recourse, and the recourse was, this is a violation of his First Amendment rights. So we were able to take it to the court, and we embarrassed the Attorney General, and we almost made it to the Supreme Court. Like, that's the Constitution. Like, what are you talking about, bruh?
Well, it depends what it is. If it's like the people.
So you're like one of the previous speakers. You don't.
No.
As long as it's someone who agrees with you, you don't mind the
crackdown.
No.
I support.
Either we consistently support principles, or we
free
don't.
Speech 100%.
Okay.
I don't think anyone.
So do you think Donald Trump is defying the Constitution by cracking down on the First Amendment?
So I think he's cracking down on free speech, like the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who was
just released from prison by a judge, saying his First Amendment rights were violated.
And I agree with the judge, and I disagree with Trump deporting them, but I think that's more a matter of free speech.
Look at all those red flags. Look at all those red flags. As soon as he said he agreed that the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil was against, look at all the red flags immediately shot up, man. Fuck that guy and his First Amendment rights. Look at his last name. We don't care about him. We continue. Holy shit.
I think that's pedantry at this moment. I think you've conceded that he is cracking down on free speech, which is the First Amendment. So he is defying the Constitution. So it's a pleasure to be in agreement with you, sir.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
Hey, how's it going?
sir.
I'm Mehdi.
Mehdi, great to meet you. My name is Kai. Do you, Mehdi, believe that the
Handsome
Constitution is
bastard.
important and good?
Overall, yes.
Do you believe that that Constitution can be eroded through democratic processes?
What do you mean by erode?
The original intention of the Constitution being destroyed through a purely, democratic or legal process.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think if you're democratically amending the Constitution per the rules of the Constitution, that's fine. If we could find a constitutional way to get rid of the Second Amendment, I'd be pro that.
So let's
Come in.
let's pose a hypothetical wherein the entire population of the United States has drastically changed.
Yes.
And the population now has completely different intentions about what to do with the country. Let's say it wants to give it all back to Mexico, dismantling the United States of America. If that's the case, then what's the use of the Constitution? It hasn't defended the country. In fact, it's allowed for its destruction.
I don't understand the premise. How did the whole country change?
Demographic replacement, mass migration. I mean, we're seeing a change in demographics, and there's
what is the. I do want to talk about immigration today.
I hope we talk about it.
Everyone's itching in this group to get to immigration.
Yes, sir.
I've saved it. I've saved it for you all. But given we're on the sense of the Constitution, and you asked the question, what is the proportion of immigrants in this country? What proportion of the population is foreign-born?
It's very difficult to measure because the actual projections of the number have been changing more rapidly.
But what is currently the best estimate of official estimate?
I think it was about 15%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just under 15%.
Which is, by the way, more actually than the original estimate was. So
but 15% of the people are going to change the country, change the Constitution. How's that going to work? It's actually a nightmare. As someone who wants to amend the Constitution and get rid of things like the ridiculous way the Senate is set up, or the Second Amendment on guns, or various other things, it's really hard to change the Constitution. They made it almost impossible. You know, last time we had a constitutional amendment?
You know
like
what?
20, 30 years ago.
I understand, which is
and it was
why
on, I think, members of Congress pay.
Which is why...
It's impossible.
I get it.
So where are you getting this scenario where 350 odd million people all become foreign-born migrants or the children of migrants, immediate migrants, even though America is a nation of migrants, and then abandons the Constitution and gives the country back to Mexico? Outside of your imagination, where is that happening?
Let's bring it back to the actual discussion. What you did is you entertained my hypothetical, but then instead of sticking to the point of the Constitution, you said, well, how would you bring about your hypothetical? And then when
because you missed out the part where the Constitution is quite hard to change.
Hold on. I understand that. I gave you.
I also wanted to get a sense of where you are, and you're a great replacement guy. So that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, and you're a real good journalist because you don't talk to people who identify as like a political ideology. I mean, that's a very liberal idea.
I don't debate fascists. I'll talk to them, but I won't debate them.
Frankly, that's upsetting. I think there's a big problem when we value freedom of speech so much, but any real journalist is not going to talk to somebody because they identify with the politically incorrect ideology.
It's not a political. This guy's a fucking Nazi. These people. They almost eliminated all the Jews from Europe. What are you talking about? I just got done listening to a podcast by this Jewish dude, and they were talking about how none of them had grandparents, bro. What do you mean politically? This whole thing where it's like we could say the most craziest, most horrible shit, most anti-American horrible shit, and when somebody goes, holy shit, that's some real anti-American fucked up, humanly fucked up shit to say, people go, oh, now we can't say we're cool with Hitler massacring thousands and millions of Jews and Poles and fucking Russians and Roma people, gypsies, whatever, and LGBT people. He just massacred these people. And it's just politically incorrect. No, this guy's what? What are we doing?
To the guy in front of you. What are you talking about?
You literally stopped talking to him, and then everybody had to vote him out.
Debating versus talking is very different.
Okay.
It's pointless, right?
Okay,
he doesn't believe in free speech.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in democracy.
He was freely speaking with you. You're the one who shut up.
No, he said very clearly.
Okay,
he said, I support free speech so that I can get one election. After one election, my guy comes in. And after my guy comes in, nobody gets to speak or vote again. Why would I debate that?
We listen to your conversation. Let's
bring
it
back
to this topic.
Let's
bring it back to the Constitution.
Please do. First, fourth, fifth, 14th Amendments. Those are the ones I'm saying Trump is defying. Do you support that or do you deny them?
I believe that the Constitution is valuable because it represents particular interests of the founding stock of Americans who made this country great.
Do you think due process is important? Some would say that's at the very core of American Constitution.
And what I think makes the Constitution function, what allows it to save this country and to actually make it work, are the people who are...
I'm not sure where you're going with this argument.
Hold on. I'll show you.
Is Trump defying the Constitution? That's my claim. You can have these weird hypotheticals
We're taking it into a different meta, which is, what's the function of the Constitution?
I'd rather not have your...
You already did.
Yeah,
literally just 5 minutes ago when you took it to immigration.
Now I don't want to.
Okay. Let's bring it back.
I want to bring it back to the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, and the 14th Amendments, and the 22nd Amendments.
Look,
either you say, hold on, you got two very good positions here. One is to say, I don't think he's defying them, and I'll say why you're wrong. Or you say, I don't care that he's defying them, as one of your colleagues said, in which case...
Good. When you're debating, these are called red herrings, just for anybody that's taken debate class, and he's bringing them back to, these are the points of the debate, this is what we're talking about, this is my positivism, affirm or deny, let's go. Very good, Mehdi.
I don't know where this conversation goes because you don't believe in democracy.
That's fair. Do you think it's wrong to dismantle the Constitution?
So there's two options ahead of you.
No,
Do you
hold on.
agree?
This is important.
Do you
What
agree?
I'm doing
so
is
is Donald Trump... Okay, let me ask a question back since you're asking me questions. You're not answering the basic point.
Well,
do you think Donald Trump is dismantling the Constitution? Can we agree that Donald Trump is dismantling? Because I'll agree with you on that. I think he is dismantling the Constitution.
I think he's
illegally, unconstitutionally,
I think he's interpreting it in ways that are more...
Which judges do not agree with him on.
Okay,
Which the Supreme Court has not agreed with him on.
And the judges don't agree with the people who wrote the Constitution.
How do you know that?
Okay, let's take your example of the Second Amendment. Let's say that a bunch of
I didn't
judges...
give the Second Amendment.
No, hold on.
Fourth. You don't want to talk about the ones I've given.
You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
Because you're ignoring me. First, Fourth, Fifth,
Good,
14th, 22nd Amendments.
Good,
Those are my amendments that I came with today.
Trying,
if you don't want to debate them, just say so.
I'm trying to understand your
just
ideology.
Say so.
You believe that dismantling the Constitution is
about
okay
the first,
when it's
fourth,
about parts
fifth,
of the Constitution
14th,
that you disagree
22nd
with.
Amendments.
You would be fine getting rid of the Second Amendment, even though that would be a dismantling of the Constitution.
No, because
via the correct way, which is all of us come together for an amendment to the Constitution, not an autocrat saying, fuck this law, fuck that law, fuck that law, fuck that judge in Andrew Jacksonian, let them try style. Like, you don't see the difference, and you're not answering the question. Answer the questions directly. This is one of the things about debate that kills me. That's why when I sign up for formal debates, we always make it clear during cross-ex, only one side can ask questions, and then the other side has to answer the question directly, otherwise they forfeit debate. This kid is forfeiting debate. Get him out of here, we continue.
Would be done via constitutional means. I'm not the one sitting here like your pal.
Okay, you have agreed. You have agreed the Constitution.
I'm not the one saying you just get rid of them willy-nilly.
I don't agree. We're ramping up.
I don't agree that Joe Biden should come in and say by executive order, if Joe Biden put out executive order saying Second Amendment no longer applies. I can round up everyone's guns.
Good.
I don't agree with that.
Your result is exactly
I don't
the
agree
same.
with them. No, but I don't agree with the method of doing it. It's unconstitutional.
That's fine.
He would have been defying the Constitution, and I would have said so, but you can't bring yourself to say so. We've been sitting here for several minutes. All of your friends have seen me ask you several times, do you agree that Donald Trump is defying the First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th, and possibly 22nd Amendments? Your colleague at least admitted that he's defying the First Amendment.
I understand that you came in here. What you are attempting to do is simply frame this conversation like you did with the first claim about Donald Trump. But then when anybody asks you any kind of question that presses you to the least degree
I answered. I said I would dismantle the Constitution, but I would do it constitutionally, not by executive order.
No, you shouldn't say that you said you dismantle the Constitution. You would get rid of the Second Amendment if you could get enough votes to have an amendment to dismantle the Second Amendment. That's not the same thing as dismantling the Constitution. That is the Constitution. That's how democracy, American democracy, is supposed to work. What Trump is doing, according to Mehdi, is not that. It's one guy saying, man, fuck this Constitution, bro. And we have legal chains in order to do this for the balance of powers. That's the entire point, because our forefathers just got done dealing with a bunch of autocrats. And so they created a system in which one guy could not come in as a god and rule over the country. That's the point. So this guy who's saying, oh, you believe in amendments? Yes, that's the Constitution. Mehdi made a mistake here.
I'm trying to get to is to prove to everybody who's watching that what you care about is not the Constitution in what it represents or creates. You care about the Constitution only insofar as it allows you to achieve your political worldview. We agree on that.
No, I care about the Constitution
you agree with the
because I don't think presidents should be fascist dictators and violate the Constitution. That's what I'm saying.
You care.
And he is different. I don't think the president should have the power to lock you and me up if we write an op-ed that he doesn't like.
That's
I
awesome.
don't think the president should be able to crack down on us if you and I decide to go protest outside his parade.
I
don't think the president should be able to deprive you and I of due process or come into our homes without a warrant.
And I think,
well, let's end an agreement then.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
I'm glad
it's
we
good
end
to
on
meet
agreement.
you. It's good to meet
you, Kai.
God. What in the world? Yeah, get some girls in there. Let the girls speak.
Hey, how are you? I'm Mehdi.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? So Trump is defying the first, fourth,
fifth, and 14th, and maybe the 22nd soon.
Okay. So I want to focus on the first and the fifth.
Okay.
So you say that Trump is defying the First Amendment. Can you give me an example?
For example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events. A Trump-appointed judge said that was against the First Amendment. He's been cracking down on media organizations he doesn't like over their speech. If they say stuff he doesn't like, for example,
cracking down how?
So, for example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events because they said it's the Gulf of Mexico. That's not how it works. They were already at the White House. He deprived them of access, so he punished them for their speech.
But
which is
are
why
they
a judge,
allowed to go to the press?
Which is why.
The Associated Press was banned from the White House, press pool, and other official events. District Judge Trevor McFadden, a Trump appointee, reinstated their access and said banning the outlet violates the First Amendment. Yeah, but Mehdi, he banned them, and then the judge issued a decree, and then it was reversed, and from my knowledge, they were able to come back. So, you're talking about autocracy. That's not autocracy. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. The president does something, the courts then say, no, man, you were wrong, and then they got reinstated. If the AP didn't get reinstated, then you can make that argument, but you can't make that argument once they get reinstated.
A judge he appointed, Trevor McFadden, said this was contrary to the First Amendment, a Trump-appointed judge. He's called MSNBC and CNN illegal. Media organizations are not ipso facto
But that's free speech.
illegal.
He can call them whatever they want.
Attacking the media?
Yeah, he can
by the
attack
president
them.
as the executive?
Yeah, he can
And
say
he
whatever
say
he
that.
wants. That's literally the First Amendment.
He can say whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
But the media can't say what they want.
They do.
But he's going after them. He's suing them. He's using lawsuits to crack down on the press.
They
Presidents
use
have not done that
lawsuits
before.
to give him 34 felonies that...
Sorry, Mehdi. But lawsuits are, again, if he was an autocrat and a fascist autocrat, I mean, how many people was Hitler suing at the height of the Reichstag or whatever the fuck? Like, I'm going to give this to the girl here. We continue.
Hillary Clinton did.
No media gave him a lawsuit.
No, but people
we're
on
talking
the
about media.
Democratic side.
We don't talk about the Democrats.
Okay. So he can call them whatever he wants because that's the freedom of speech.
He's
he can even
threatened to
discourage-
imprison reporters.
He absolutely...
He wants to imprison. He said reporters should go to prison for.
President Trump suggested jailing reporters who publish classified or other sensitive information if they refuse to disclose their source. I could say that it would have a chilling effect on speech. But I don't think that you could say that Trump saying... Mehdi, you have to admit, the media did lie about him for 4 straight years relative to Russiagate. Okay? And they lied, and they knew they were lying and still published lies anyway. So there's a reckoning for that. I don't see that. I don't see him suing them as a violation of free speech, because now you're appealing to the judges instead of saying, hey, I'm the president, send this person to jail, right? You're appealing to judges and saying, let this arbiter decide. And he's won a couple of them. And I believe the media does need to be reined in and held accountable for spewing lies that they know are lies. They knew about 70% of that Russiagate thing was bullshit. They knew it. Rachel Maddow, all the rest of them should have been held accountable. They threw our country into absolute and total turmoil. They accused this man of being a traitor, which is really a death penalty type offense, treason. And they did it with absolutely no accountability whatsoever. So and Mehdi is part of the media, so he's sensitive to that. I don't know if he took part in Russiagate, but I'm sorry. But Trump suing these people, to me, is not a violation of the First Amendment. I'm sorry. It's not. You cannot convince me that that is a violation of the First Amendment.
Reporting. He threatened some of them with prison rape. Right? That is against the First Amendment.
Okay. How is that against the First Amendment?
You don't think sending reporters to prison for
Is he
reporting that he
sending
does
them?
lie?
Did he do that?
He wanted to. He said so.
Okay,
I would like them to go.
I would really like to.
So
fly.
other people stopped him doesn't mean he's not defying the Constitution.
So
he also said if you turn up...
he can want to do something.
Yes.
That doesn't mean he will or he can.
Okay.
And I think he's very
Well, I've already
aware
given
of
an
that.
example of something he did do to the Associated Press, but okay.
Yeah, okay, so the Associated Press isn't allowed in the Oval Office, which is his office, that's his executive space.
Okay.
And they are allowed in the press room, just like CNN, just like The Guardian.
Which he thinks are illegal media organizations.
He can think whatever he
calls the
wants.
media the enemies of the people.
You called him a fascist.
Yeah.
you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
Yes.
But the
and
president is. I'm not the president of the United States with executive
So
power
now- okay,
to
so
crack down.
Yeah, he doesn't have less power. He doesn't have less speech because he's the president. I mean, he still gets the. He still is allowed speech too, even if he's the president. What the hell, Mehdi? He doesn't have more powers than the rest of us because he's the president, but he doesn't have less either. What the hell?
First Amendment only applies to the citizens, but not the president.
I never
of the
said that.
United States.
In fact, Donald
then
Trump
he
runs
can
his mouth
say-
more than anyone.
Absolutely, he
Yeah.
does.
And he doesn't just say
is-
stuff. As I said, he actually does stuff. He actually does crack down. For example, you Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
Due process.
Yes.
Judges have actually said you have violated due process.
Yes, except for people kind of forget the Clinton, the 1996.
Doesn't matter, Shorty. It doesn't matter. We're talking about Trump. I'm with you on the First Amendment stuff, but the due process stuff, he's been extremely problematic in. I don't care about the Clintons. I don't give a damn.
Immigration Reform Act, where you can get limited due process when you have expedited.
American citizens?
No.
What about American citizens?
Who's getting deported? That's American. 2
American children have been deported, multiple this year. Have you not been?
No. Their parents have been deported, and their parents say,
No, the
"I'm
father
going
was
to take
American.
my baby."
No.
Was mom legal?
We don't know because they didn't go to court, and the judge.
They
by
don't
the way,
have to go to court.
Yes,
that's not a part of the due process.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm very aware of it.
Are you a lawyer?
Do I have to be? We're making an argument.
Are you a lawyer?
It's
a simple question.
No.
Are you a lawyer?
Okay, we're making an argument.
I'll take that as a no. A Trump-appointed judge in the case, not some Marxist lefty judges you people like to call them, a Trump-appointed conservative judge said you cannot, it is illegal and unconstitutional to expel or deport an American citizen without meaningful process. He said that in April. So that was an act that Trump did. It wasn't speech. He got rid of an American citizen from the country without process.
So
that's the Fifth Amendment violation.
Since I'm not up to date on that specific
I can give you more.
I'm sure you can. So.
Well, you weren't aware that Americans.
All right, surrender the point. I think you're doing a good job here, Shorty, on your side, but you got to surrender that point. He did do that, and he's done it a bunch of times. And a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of judges that Trump has appointed have ruled against him as far back as the 2020 stuff when he lost to Joe Biden. even the judges that he appointed, all the way up to the Supreme Court level, were like, bruh, it's over for you. So kudos to those judges because they've really helped maintain our democracy. Because holy shit,
this is being deported. It's a pretty big story.
Yeah,
maybe if you read the fake news, you might know.
What?
If you read the fake news, you might know what's going on. A lot of American
how
citizens
would I know what's going on if
deported.
I read fake news? I don't watch CNN or Rachel Maddow.
He's being sarcastic.
Sorry.
That's why you don't know that your fellow citizens have been deported this year.
My fellow citizens.
Are they not? American citizens haven't been deported?
Okay. When a child goes with their
All right,
adult,
guys, that's time. Please return to your
nice
seat.
To meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, she did the best. His First Amendment stuff, I'm sorry. You lost me there, Mehdi, because none of those were real violations of the First Amendment. I mean, ironically enough, your position was to deny Trump his First Amendment rights. Holy shit, we continue.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thanks so much to Straight Arrow News. Facts.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you,
Mehdi.
Daniela.
Okay, so this is the immigration portion. It says immigrants overall are good for America.
So in regards to your claim, I just want to start by asking this. Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant and an American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true. Where'd you get? What's the basis of your claim for that?
Are you talking about people that get naturalized in the process of becoming American?
14th Amendment. Have you read it?
Okay, yes, I have.
Citizenship clause. It says any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million naturalized Americans in this country.
Yes, but
you didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
So, but are you understanding that the process of getting all these immigrants that come in here we've been also, the millions of immigrants, it's up to the millions, it's the last 20 years now, and it has dramatically affected Americans here in the country, which
positively, I would argue.
People like me and everyone around here, we cannot find homes or even get jobs within our own fields that we go to college for, that we get into debt for. And because...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. This guy right here, if you're a guy, I'm not being funny. But, like, he's probably alone. Like, you're not on the team, bro. I promise you're not on the team. I don't understand what she means. You can't find a home? Why? Because the immigrants are taking your home? And your job?
As more blue-collar work, especially in construction, agriculture and so forth, and the hospitality industry, we cannot get jobs in those fields. So it requires
Are you looking for a
us-
job in construction
I am
or
not.
agriculture?
No, I went
Just
to
checking.
college.
Okay.
Many people here are in college or went to college, but we can't even find jobs in our fields. Also because of the H-1B visa program as well. But in regards to just your claim about immigrants specifically, we cannot even get jobs to pay.
Yeah, that H-1B visa shit is what got Vivek Ramaswamy canceled on the right, because he said that they were mediocre and that there were people from other countries that were out competing them, and there's a certain demographic that can't hear that kind of a message. We continue.
For housing.
Unemployment is at a record low right now, even under Donald Trump. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I would say unemployment under both Biden and Trump has been at record low levels.
Okay, is this in regards for American citizens?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm unaware of that statistic, but from what I see, from what I
I'm an
consistently
immigrant
hear-
and an American, and I employ
Sure.
many
And
American
my-
citizens,
and-
both naturalized and the ones born here.
And
I employ
my
Americans.
parents. No, my parents came
Americans as defined by you.
My parents came as immigrants to become naturalized, so I'm not necessarily opposed
Oh,
to
wow.
immigrants.
So you're the child of immigrants.
Correct. I'm a child of immigrants. I was
But
born
you don't
here.
accept that immigrants are Americans.
Somebody called it. Somebody said, yo, she's got an accent.
Not at this moment.
So your
because-
parents are not Americans?
Not at this moment.
So hold
no,
on, your parents are
they're
not Americans?
citizens. They became naturalized.
You just said you can't be citizens by being naturalized.
No, I was born here, and I'm not
Yeah,
opposed
you're born
to
here, right?
naturalization. I
But
never
are your
said that I'm
parents-
against naturalization.
Are you against naturalization?
No, I never said I was against
You did.
naturalization.
You began. Everyone was here. They can play it back on YouTube. You said Americans or immigrants. Are your parents Americans or immigrants?
No, my parents are United States citizens.
But they're immigrants. You said.
No, they came here as immigrants. However, but
So they
I
are
would
immigrants.
claim
You
that
sta-
we
I
cannot
came
even.
You see how all the red flags went up as soon as they heard that her parents were immigrants? These people are the worst. As soon as she said her parents were immigrants, the red flags went up like you wouldn't believe. I almost feel sorry for this girl, but holy shit.
As an immigrant, I'm
But
an immigrant.
at this point, when they came, the
I
United,
think
the
that people
United
aren't
States
happy with
economy,
the way this is going for you.
the United States economy was not at.
Look! Did you see how that girl looked at her? Holy shit.
Many years.
Not from the
And I can say
statistics
that
I
as someone who
see.
doesn't like Donald Trump.
We're
Which
giving
statistics are you
millions
seeing?
and billions of dollars
Which
to
statistics
people
are you
of,
seeing?
minorities as well as
The reason the
immigrants
economy is doing badly now is
that
because
we
Donald
can't-
Trump's
that we're giving
tariff
it to
policy.
loans. We can't
Nothing
even
to do
get
with
businesses.
migrants. In fact, the
They can't
congressional.
even start businesses.
I'm an immigrant.
He said, we're giving it to minorities. We're giving it to minorities and immigrants. So we're really what she's saying is white people. She's confusing immigrant, non-white, citizen, white. So that's why she dumped minority in there. And that's why she sounds so sad, because...
I started a business.
No, I understand because the SBA is giving people billions
I
of
didn't take any
loans.
loans
They're giving
from
them
SBA.
billions.
I didn't take any loans
I'm not
from
saying you
SBA.
did, but I'm
Okay,
saying
well,
that
I did.
statistically speaking, they're giving billions of
So
loans
should we
to
do
these
statistics? According to statistics, immigrants are 80% more likely to be entrepreneurs than native-born Americans.
Sure,
and more likely
absolutely.
to start
No,
businesses.
I'm aware of
and
that.
An MIT study found that immigrants are 80% more likely to start a business compared to U.S.-born citizens. I've got a couple of them. Because again, you choose to be here. You got to fight and scratch and claw for everything. And if you work, you got to be the best one there, because you already have that monkey on your back. So it creates a kind of ethos. I understand it.
hire Americans.
No, I'm aware
right?
of that.
Immigrants
but
are
we
more
also-
likely to pay in taxes than
Yeah.
take out in benefits.
And
They're
I'm-
more likely to add to innovation and jobs and wages. This is what the statistics show. The Congressional Budget Office.
understand how
Let me just finish my
understand
point and then let you come back
Okay,
in.
go
The
ahead.
Congressional Budget Office, which is bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats both use it. They have said that the immigration surge that you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
will lead to an extra $9 trillion of GDP over the next 10 years.
The Congressional Budget Office projects that the immigration surge during the Biden administration will add $8.9 trillion to the CDP through 2034.
That amounts to $65,000 per American household. That's $65,000 for each and every one of you holding up a red flag.
Okay, I
All
understand
right,
that, but
pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your
Nice
seat.
to meet you.
nice to meet you. Thank you.
Get out of here. Good night.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Mehdi.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. All right, so first, before I start, I need to know what you mean by good. I can talk about the economy, I can talk about culture, I can talk
Great.
about all those things. I need
All
to
of
know
them.
what you mean.
All of them.
All of them.
I'm saying immigrants are good for the economy. They're good for
You think lower
culture.
wages are
they're
good for the
good for
economy?
society. Where's the lower wages?
What do you mean, where's the lower wages?
Where are the lower wages?
Yeah, so you can
What's
look
the
at
basis for saying there are lower wages?
Sure, so you can look at like the STEM industry. It's been in like a complete and total recession. There's been tons of studies like from the Economic Policy Institute that shows that like companies like Tesla, companies from like Silicon Valley, they engaged in mass firing of workers, around 35,000, but then they hired around 12,000 H-1B visas. And it's kind of just standard economic thinking.
It's not standard economic thinking. The vast majority of economists and economic studies suggest that there is a negligible, if no impact on wages over time from immigrants. In fact, your colleague mentioned earlier, construction, there is actually evidence in construction, yes. But in some industries, in some areas, there is an impact. But overall, no. In fact, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that migrants since 1965 have raised wages and raised innovation.
Who's that by?
National Bureau for Economic Research.
No, hold on. That's where you publish studies. I'm asking
yes,
for
I
the
didn't
author.
memorize the names of the authors.
Yeah, I know you did. Right?
Can you give me the authors you've got?
Yeah, hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did he.
The vast majority of studies.
Let me speak,
please.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So listen, he didn't account for aggregation issues, right? And when you look at like the spatial approach, which is what all these economists use, you're not accounting for the fact that when immigrants come into an area, natives leave. If you look at an occupational approach, where you look at the specific firms that immigration is going into, like Kim ETAL 2013 did. You find a net negative impact when there's a 10% increase of immigration. You find around a 0.5% decline in wages when it comes to the specific occupations they're going to.
So
all your studies are flawed.
So 0.5%. Weigh that up against what I just mentioned from the Congressional Budget Office, which is a massive boost in GDP per head, which you're not counting for. Massive increase in tax revenue. Immigrants actually funding.
This dude looks really angry. Does he look angry? He just came out the gate pretty angry with the Tejas hat.
The deficits and debts by paying way more in taxes proportionately, including undocumented immigrants. And what's interesting about wages is I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore, conservatives, Republicans, fascists, I don't know. One of you has proudly said that.
Call us correct.
One of us proudly. Oh yeah, correct. I'm in a room full of correct people, but do any of you actually care about wages? Because
for example, I actually do.
For example, do you support raising the minimum wage?
Absolutely, and you can't do that when you're bringing all these people coming into
that's
a
not
country.
the reason the Republican Party blocks the minimum wage. You think Republican politicians don't vote for an increase in minimum wage because they're worried about immigration?
Did I say I voted Republican? Did I say I voted Republican?
Well, I'm in a show that was called 25 far-right Republicans.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support every single Republican candidate.
So you and I, So you and I, let's agree. We both support raising the minimum wage. Yes,
100%.
$7.25 since 2009. It's lost 30% of its value. If you care about wages, we should be raising the minimum wage in this country, not scapegoating migrants who aren't the cause of low wages in the country. You know who's causing low wages? Billionaires, millionaires, and people who won't pay fair wages to their wages, regardless of whether you are an immigrant or a native.
I get the
born
monologue right now. Let me respond.
You had one. You had one with your one study that had a 0.5% impact. Go.
Yeah, and your study sucked that you didn't even know who wrote it, right? So let's get back to the point, right?
Because I don't need
and
to
there
go
it
one
goes
study.
again. The
majority of studies say that wages are not impacted by migration.
The majority of your studies are flawed. That's what I'm telling you.
My studies.
Right.
Neither of us are economists. It's the economist studies.
Don't assume who I am.
Are you an economist?
I could be.
But are you?
I could be.
Are you?
I'm not going to tell you.
Are you?
Just go, kid, go!
Are you an economist?
Because you actually have a
no, not right
Okay,
now.
so when I said neither is economist, I was correct.
Just don't assume.
To use your favorite word.
See here, dude, this is nothing of substance. You look at the red flags; they're coming up. Let me get to the point.
Great, but
so
you're
when
not
you talk
an
about
economist.
when you talk about the CBO, one thing you're not accounting for here is that they're assuming an equilibrium, right? Do you know what that means? You shouldn't make these type of assumptions. You said earlier that unemployment.
Do I
was
know
like
what it means? I thought we're not doing assumptions.
Okay, hold on. You mentioned we were at 4.2% unemployment. Yeah, that's counting people who have part-time jobs. That's counting poverty
That's how it's
wages.
always been counted.
Yeah,
I'm against poverty wages.
You
Can we
won't let
agree
me
again?
Yes. If you go to the Logood Institute, they calculated a way where it's functional unemployment. Okay. If you account for things like just people who make around 25,000.
I agree, Evil Peer. I actually want to hear what he has to say, but his ego's getting in the way about are you an economist? Just say no. But it doesn't matter. If you've got the facts, kid, you've got the facts. Continue.
$1,000 a year, people who have fallen out of the labor market, people who only work part-time. If you count all of those people together and then add on the unemployment, that's around 25% of the population. So when you go, we don't have jobs, we don't have people to do this, and that, and the other. No, yes, we do. Okay, we don't have a labor shortage. We have a good job shortage. And when you keep bringing these people in, and they're taking those jobs.
The good job shortage is the fault of big firms, employers. I'm an employer. I can say that.
Who hires the immigrants?
Who hires the immigrants?
Yeah.
Employers.
Exactly. So when you bring up these big firms,
so
that's the way that keeps wages down. You understand that, right?
So let me ask you a question. If you got rid of all immigrants coming in tomorrow, moratorium, you think that Republicans and employers of big firms just suddenly raise all the wages.
You notice
That's
how
what
you
you
didn't answer
believe.
what I said. You
That's
notice
what
how
you believe.
It was a complete. Your ankles
That's what
all
you
right?
believe.
You pivoted the hell
That's what
away
you
from the
believe.
conversation.
Is that what you? I'm on
Are
the
your ankles
subject.
okay?
Do you believe that wages? I'm just wondering how naive you are. You believe that the 1% will raise wages in the federal wage
They will
if
be
we
forced
stop
to.
immigration?
They will be forced to. When you increase labor's relationship to capital, okay, and you give labor more bargaining power because you're
But
tightening
this
the
is a very
supply of
simplistic
labor.
understanding of economics because you're
Okay,
not,
explain I'm wrong.
I'm telling you how you're wrong.
I'm here.
Because you're ignoring the fact that when immigrants come into
I actually like this kid. I wish he wasn't so like emotional, because he's making some points that you know what I'm saying? Like, he's making points.
Area, they spend money. They create jobs through
About
their
about
presence.
1/5 of their monthly income leaves the country.
That's a good thing also because you don't like US aid, foreign aid. So this is the point. They create
Don't
jobs. I
assume
came
that.
into this country. So far, every one of my assumptions about you has been correct. But listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like. I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
Why?
Because you come here and say all this bullshit
Why?
about how Americans are lazy.
Why?
You push your left-wing
I never
politics.
said Americans are
I don't
lazy.
know why you say this.
I never said Americans
yes,
are lazy.
you are.
The
You're
only person
saying
attacking
immigrants
people
have
is
to
you.
come into this country so they can do jobs that we don't want to do.
I
That's
never
exactly
said
what
those
you
words.
said.
When did I say it?
Oh, really? You
When did
didn't
I
say
say
that?
it? We're
So
on
why do we-
YouTube. Guys watching on YouTube, rewind to the time where I said immigrants are doing jobs we don't want to do. When did I say those words? Words
You
that
said-
came out of my mouth.
Okay, so why do we?
The kid's way too emotional. I feel bad for him. You know? I feel bad for this kid. Especially, like... Yeah. Something's going on with this kid. He's smart as hell, though, man. That's too bad.
Why do we have to bring in immigrants? Why do we have to bring in immigrants to the country if we have people who are going to do the jobs?
Pause. You've been voted out.
It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
You're gonna have to go.
Nice talking to you.
He said, what did he say? You're going to have to go, or you don't have to go? Mehdi is right. It's the millionaires and the billionaires that suppress wages because those same millionaires and billionaires support mass migrations, which suppresses wages. Yeah, I felt like the kid had a point, man. Like, I wish... Mehdi's a really, really excellent debater, and he was able to play on the kid's emotionalism. But I do think the kid had a point. I don't have enough information. I'm ignorant on the economics piece of it. So I don't have enough. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to hear more what the kid was saying, but he was way, way too emotional.
You're going to have to go, bro, is what he said as I left, to an American citizen. Good to know where you stand on immigration. It's not about immigration, is it? That's what it's not about. Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. How are you?
Not bad. So, what type of immigrants are we talking about?
What do you mean?
Like any immigrants or are
Immigrants, that's what I said, immigrants
are illegal
overall.
immigrants? part of it too?
Undocumented immigrants also contribute
Illegal.
greatly to the U.S. I say undocumented. I don't think people are illegal.
So, let's put it this way. I mean, I'm an immigrant too,
Are
from
you?
Iran.
Okay.
There isn't even
How
a
do you
U.S.
feel about the fact that people here want you out? Are you okay with that?
I'm here to debate you, not debate them.
I mean, you're all on the same side. You're part of one group.
No.
You've been clapping each other.
No, I mean, there are conservatives here, there are far-right people here, there are Republicans
But how do
here.
you feel about that guy wanting me and you to leave?
But, you know, let's
I'm just
stick-
wondering. Wait, this is the topic of immigration.
It's not
how
about
do you feel
my,
about the
it's
guy?
not about my feelings towards
Okay.
them.
Okay.
It's about staying on this topic.
Okay.
And
Immigrants
talk
are good for America, yeah. You and me, we're good for America. And the
So-
guy over there wants us to leave. So I'm just wondering how you feel about that.
So I believe that there has to be strict immigration laws.
Okay.
We have to make sure that the people who are coming here have the good intent of the United States
Yeah.
in mind.
That's not my claim, but okay.
So
my claim is about immigrants are net
if,
positive.
If we just open our borders to every single person
No one
that wants
calls
to
for
be
open
here,
borders.
you know, that claims that they have economical hardship in their country.
Who's calling for open borders?
No, I'm just saying, you know.
Oh, it's a straw man. So you're just saying a straw man.
No, I'm saying
You're
that
wasting
if
time with a straw man. No one's calling for open borders. I didn't call for open
well,
borders.
you wasted
I said
time.
immigrants who...
You
Sorry?
wasted time trying to cause division between me and my friends
Division.
over
He
here.
wants you to leave the country. That's a pretty big deal.
All
I mean, you can ignore
Like
it,
I
but
said-
that's your side, my friend.
Like I said,
You
you were
made
the
your
one
bet.
that tried to derail this argument.
Derail?
By bringing that.
It's
Even
literally
though we're
core to my
trying to-
argument. I'm saying
You notice
immigrants
how
are good to
nobody's
America.
saying,
People
no,
are
no,
not
no,
saying
we want you
we
to
should
stay.
leave. Not
It's
me.
him
I mean,
and
I'm
the
asking
green
what
gay
type
guy.
of
You
immigrants
guys are
are
out of
talking
here.
about.
Out
Immigrants
of here.
overall,
And the
overall.
other Mexican fella.
So-
Out of
so
here.
you
You want to
believe-
you want me to get into like
Mr.
particular communities?
Sanchez,
I'm
out of
So
here.
you believe that people
Fabulous
that come here
Joe,
without any
out of
respect-
here.
Society.
without any respect
Serge
for laws
Tankian, out of
and
here.
our border, you know, are going to be good for this country.
No, of course not.
So you can't say that all immigrants overall.
I never said all immigrants.
Well,
I said
you
immigrants overall. Immigrants overall doesn't mean all immigrants. Sorry to break that to you.
All right, so we have to make sure that the people who are coming here have the good intent of this country in
Agreed.
mind. Agreed?
Yes.
All right,
Irrelevant
good.
to my claim,
But
but
when you
agreed.
have undocumented immigration going on,
Yeah.
you can't vet that. You can't make sure about that. Let me real quick, talk about my background. There is no American embassy in Iran. So in order to come here, you have to stay in line for 4 years, and you have to go through some serious vetting procedure to get here. But I made it. And that process has to be in place because, you don't want terrorists
But
to fill this country.
I made it too. I'm an American citizen. I went through lots of vetting. I took my test.
And that's how
But the guy
it
over
should
there
be.
wants us to leave.
But
he wants us to leave.
When people
So people don't really care about vetting, do they?
But
It's not really about vetting, is it, my
but
friend?
people should not have
You're in
the
denial.
right. People should not have the right to ignore our borders and our laws.
What about those
to
of us who
come here.
don't ignore the borders? Should we get to stay?
Of course.
But he says we shouldn't.
Well, I'm not debating him.
You kind of are because you're all together on this.
No, I'm debating you.
Okay. And I'm pointing out to you that your argument is in bad faith because these guys are actually speaking the truth and you're in denial about who's on your side. He wants you gone.
I never claimed that I'm on their side or they're on my side.
Okay.
I'm here to debate you.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please
Thank you,
return to your
Mehdi.
seat.
Nice to meet you. Hey, how you doing? I'm Mehdi.
Edwin.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the divide and conquer methodology. The guy had an argument. Let the guy have an argument. It was a bad argument. I mean, Mehdi never called for open borders. I'm the only one crazy enough to call for open borders. I've never heard any of these dudes call for open borders ever. So, I mean, it was a pretty easy argument to, deconstruct Mehdi. You didn't need to bring in the whole, these people want you gone. It made for good TV, though. We continue.
The question is, immigration is good for America, right?
Overall, if you look at the net positives to things like our society, our culture, our food, our economy, our general diversity, I know the D word is a bad word in places like this. I think immigrants have been a net positive. I think if you look at your everyday lives, we all benefit from immigration.
And what kind of conservatives disagree with that?
The guy,
Besides
the guy,
racist
some
guy
of the guys who told me to leave this place and go back to, I'm not a citizen.
Do you think all conservatives?
No.
Oh.
No, in fact, Ronald Reagan, who's a president I wasn't a big fan of until Donald Trump came along. Now people like Reagan look good in comparison. Reagan said in 1986, our country is a nation of immigrants. Our immigrant heritage is our strength. He gave an amnesty to 3 million undocumented migrants. He understood the value of immigration. So I'm with Reagan.
Oh, wow.
Although
I'm
this
with
guy's
Reagan.
putting his thumb down there. So
I'm with
Reagan's not
Reagan,
popular in right-wing crowds these days.
Yeah. Well, he's popular with me.
Good to hear.
I'm a deferred action of childhood arrivals. I was an illegal immigrant myself. I came here when I was 10. I'm what you would call a legal alien now. I didn't
So,
have any.
what are
any
you doing
say
with these people?
on my parents, choices.
Yes.
Do I think that they were well-meaning by wanting to bring me over for a better future? Absolutely. I believe that.
Yeah.
Did they break the law? Yes. Do I agree with people breaking the law?
What
Not
the hell are you
necessarily.
doing, guy?
Do I think that there's ever
Man, get this guy out
a
of here.
situation where
Oh, my gosh.
you can break
Get
the
him
law
out!
for the better or the greater good? Immigration is it's an interesting issue because I do agree with you that
Good to hear.
everyone is an immigrant in the sense. Can you tell me a little bit more about your journey?
I've been here 10 years. I'm a proud American citizen. I'm a dual national. I'm British. I'm American. And I am an immigrant who's contributing to this country. So, yes, I'm very much proud of America's immigrant heritage. I'm part of it. And despite what one of the other people said on this show earlier, everyone here, unless you're Native American,
All right,
is a descendant of
pause.
immigrants.
Sorry, you've been voted out.
Of course.
Please return to your seat.
Thank you, man.
Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Actually a fan. I see you a lot on Piers Morgan.
Okay, thank you for watching.
Yeah. So my argument is that Americans are what is a nation? A nation is a geographical location full of people who have some things in common. So I think some of the things typically in history are going to be like race, religion, ethnicity, language. These are some of the things that we have to have in common in order to actually have a functioning civilization, especially in self-government. I'm not necessarily a giant fan of self-government. I'm a Catholic.
I say it's borders, language, culture, man. I don't know what you mean by race and ethnicity, especially in a country like America. I mean, I do know what you mean, but we continue.
Like nationalist. I'm not a fascist. You have to have at least some things in common in order to
Agreed.
actually have a civilization. And the immigrants, especially illegal immigrants that come into this country now, disrespect us. They hate everything that we believe. They don't even speak our language. I watched, after Trump got elected, I watched an interview of an illegal alien woman crying and about getting deported, and the entire interview was in Spanish. That is a spit in the face. It's disrespect. They don't care about us. They abuse our system.
So you've gone from a teleological argument into just a bunch of series of wild, unsubstantiated
I'm asking
claims.
you, what is
I don't accept any of those claims that they hate everything we stand for, and I don't accept. Well, I'm not going to deal with the teleology. I'm going to deal with the false claims that you made. There's no what's your basis for saying that all immigrants or all undocumented immigrants hate everything we stand for? It's funny that you said you're a Catholic nationalist. How did most Catholics get to America? Irish Catholics, Italian Catholics. Immigration. Much of the people coming across the southern border are Catholics. Yeah,
I know. I don't.
So it's really funny that you say you're a Catholic nationalist, but Catholics came to America via immigration.
Yeah. So there's.
So immigration is good for America. You and I can agree. Otherwise, people of your faith wouldn't be here.
No. We were here on this side of the world, in this continent, from conquest. We came over here, and
but the big surges of numbers, as you well know, because you're a smart guy, Italian, Irish immigration waves, Catholic immigration waves.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not even
Are you
claiming.
against those?
I'm not even.
Were you against those if you were alive
I'm
then?
not even claiming that
'Cause
immigration
a lot of people
is
were against
bad.
those.
I'm not claiming immigration is bad in all cases at all times.
What is your claim?
Just the brown immigrants, the white immigrants, the Irish immigrants. Those were okay, but the fucking brown immigrants, those are the people we have a problem with. Allahu Akbar.
Immigration, especially now, and especially for foreign people that have nothing in common with us.
It's funny that you say it's especially
a negative
now.
thing.
I forgot your name. My apologies.
Brian. Yeah. How many?
In every era, there has been a Brian who says, "I'm not against immigration, just immigration now."
Okay.
This is what people said about Italians. This is what people said about Irish folks. Said about Russians, Poles, and now we're saying about people coming across the southern border. Because you're not being. It's a little disingenuous saying I'm only against immigrants now. This is a trope.
How's that disingenuous?
This is because it's a trope that's been used by nativists throughout American history, and every wave of immigrants has come in and faced the same hate and animus and bigotry and lazy trope, and every wave of immigration is ultimately assimilated, integrated, benefited the country. In fact, assimilation right now, according to Jacob Victor from the University of Washington, assimilation rates based on language and citizenship and naturalization are higher now than 100 years ago.
Okay, let me make a statement first. I think that you in your own
ignored my statement, but
you and your own person are a complete perfect example of why immigration is negative and why we shouldn't allow people who don't have anything in common with us. You're pro-abortion, you're pro-euthanasia, you're
pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, you went. I've seen your stuff. You've defended euthanasia.
Pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, on Piers Morgan.
No, I've never discussed euthanasia with Piers Morgan in my life.
I mean, it's white people that are the most pro-abortion. What do you? Trust me, I know. Like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about like in numbers. Like, what are you talking about, bruh?
Okay, so my point is that you don't agree
actually,
with
I'm
the
the guy
founders
here.
of this country.
If anyone watching at home, I'm the only guy here who actually supports American values, democracy, free speech, the Constitution. I've got folks here telling me they don't believe in democracy, that they're nationalists.
Wait, why should we care about that, by the way?
Isn't that what America stands for? What does America stand for? So you hate what America stands for, not me.
I'm not even
and
saying...
in fact, all the studies show that immigrants actually are more patriotic than native-born Americans.
The only reason why, that's the Mexicans in LA right now burning it down, waving Mexican flags.
LA's being burned down?
Please don't send us back to the country that we're waving the flag of.
I've been in LA for a few days. I didn't see anything burned down.
Yeah, I know the riots have ended. That's because Trump sent.
But if it's burned down, where's it all burned down? I haven't seen it. I've traveled around all of LA. You said LA was burned down. LA is 500 square miles. It's not a figure of speech, actually. It's another false claim of yours.
No, they're burning
I support
buildings.
euthanasia. LA's burned to the ground.
Bro, just
immigrants hate what we stand for.
Okay, so
I'm super relaxed.
So you're pro-abortion.
But you're just saying one false thing after another.
So you're pro-abortion,
and I'm standing by my position. Immigrants are good for
You're pro-abortion. You're an immigrant.
I'm pro Roe v. Wade. Personally, I'm not pro-abortion. If you knew anything about me, you know that.
Roe v. Wade is.
All right, pause.
That was passed by a bunch of white Republicans.
I was going to say nice to meet you, Brian, but I guess not.
What are you talking about?
You made it.
Great to see you. My name is Cyrus.
Nice to meet you, Cyrus.
I am also son of two immigrants.
They want you gone. They want you gone, bro.
Fantastic. Born in L.A.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Terrangeles.
Yes. Well, I am mainly upset, not at the immigrants, legal or not. I'm mainly upset at Wall Street. I'm mainly upset at the elites, the special interests.
I'm with you.
They are the main reason why we've been having this issue since 1965. And most want to do well. There are a few bad apples, we can agree.
Okay.
But we want to go after the elites. They are the main cause of the problem.
Love it.
And just like healthcare, trade, everything.
Did you know, Cyrus, that the top 1% dodge $163 billion in taxes every year, while undocumented people...
2021 Treasury reports the top 1% of earners dodge $163 billion in tax payments. A separate report found undocumented immigrants paid $98 billion in federal, state, and local taxes. I gotta tell you, like, obviously I'm not gonna out myself, but I will say the more money you have, the more you can afford to hire experts that will show you how to pay the least amount of taxes possible. I mean, it's just true. So, I mean, read Rich Man, Poor Man. I mean, it's true. I don't know what else to say. We continue.
Pay $100 billion in tax. So I know where my anger is against.
There are issues with our tax system on the rich, but in a state like California, some taxes are too high. I used to live here, now I live in Las Vegas.
Different debate.
Okay.
I'm saying immigration is good for America.
Depends on the
People
tax.
like you and me overall are good for America is what I'm saying.
Okay, but it depends on how it's done.
Yes.
It depends on how it's
and
done.
how it's been done
so
for the U.S.
I'm not blaming the housing crisis on immigrants, not on wages, but in a state like California that doesn't build enough homes and they're bringing immigrants in, you have to increase supply of housing.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
But this is where our anger is at the political class.
I agree.
The Democrat Party used to have a different stance on immigration 15 years ago. Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not here to defend different Democrats. What I will say is
that's our anger.
What I will say is that everyone here actually does think immigration is good for America. Everyone here uses an iPhone designed by an immigrant, is on Gmail designed by an immigrant, is on a YouTube show.
But
you guys all came to a YouTube show founded by an immigrant. You wouldn't be here.
But that's
if it
a
wasn't for
tiny
an immigrant.
minority.
So you all love immigrants, whether you like it or not.
Okay, but it is a taboo subject. Should we be concerned about the demographics? So
no.
Anglo-Saxon, European American, 0% of America, it doesn't matter.
Are they 0% of America?
Well, let's say if it becomes 0%, it should not worry.
They're not going to. Why are you bringing weird hypotheticals?
Well, but there has to. But I mean, they're still part of our country. There's culture. There's.
Yeah.
I mean, even Britain. Like,
I mean,
it
America's
concerns
gone through
me.
many
But
demographic
it
waves,
concerns
right?
me when Britain is changing, and it's. You know, it's like
Britain's
they're losing their
been changing for
culture,
years.
but it's
Who said
losing
they're
their
losing
culture.
Who
Are
says
they?
that?
Are they going to try to?
I'm
what
from
are they
the UK. I'm telling you, no one's losing their culture. in the UK.
London is going to be very little British in
Who
one
says
day.
so?
What's the plan? That's what we want to know. What's the
You
plan?
just made that up. Have you been
But
to London?
how do we know?
Cyrus, have you been to London?
No.
So then maybe you shouldn't comment on places you don't know anything about.
But what's the plan?
I grew up in London. London's
the
a very
general
British
plan?
city. I was in London a few weeks ago.
Okay.
It's a very British city.
I hope not. I understand that there are people in this audience that don't like me or you in this
Yeah,
country,
they want
and
us
I
to leave.
respect that. There's some that don't even want me to date a blonde woman. They want to keep to their own, or ginger or whatever. I respect that, but there has to be a deal made. There's Idaho, there's Montana. They can go live in a homogeneous society. I don't believe in force, okay? And I believe that there has to be a deal made. And I think there's upsides and downsides to
You hear that, racist? Just go to Montana. Go to Montana. Holy shit, this guy. Look, all right, we'll continue, but I'm bored with this.
There's a deal made. People have elections. They vote for elections. And right now, there's Donald Trump in the White House. Not someone I support, but people voted for him.
Well, why did he get in mainly? Because we had
That's a big subject.
2016,
Not sure we have time to get into that.
2016,
There's a lot of
Bernie
reasons he got in.
Sanders. Okay.
Part of the reason he got in is that people in this room want people like me and you to leave, and they voted for him to try and make that happen.
I'm not surprised. One of the Charlottesville marchers doesn't like me, and I've met those people, and I respect their views.
You really shouldn't.
Well, they're wants.
Don't respect racists and fascists, is my advice to you.
Well, they have their preferences. You know, that's just, we can't change that.
Actually, we can. That's why I tried to come in today, but anyways.
A bunch of Jews in the oven. That's
Please
their
return to your
preference,
seat.
bro. What are you
Thank
doing?
you.
Nice to meet you,
Great
Cyrus.
pleasure. Good.
God bless you, man. Watch your back, bro.
My final claim is that Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing.
100%. 100%.
Hey,
I'm
how are you?
Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You too. So why do you say this is Donald Trump's plan? Why do you think that?
I mean, he says it's his plan. Have you seen his plan?
When
Have you
did
heard
he
his plan?
say it?
He said it standing next to Benjamin Netanyahu in January, February. He said it on Fox News in an interview on Fox. He said it on Air Force One when he was chatting to reporters.
Word for word, what's an example of what he said?
Word for word, he said, for example, we're going to clean out the Gaza Strip. He said they're going to leave. We're going to take control of it. He says, we'll own it. I would own it. He says, I'm not sure under international law how he can own a foreign piece of land. And when he was asked on Fox News, the people, the Palestinians who are being forced to leave, would they be able to come back? He said, no, they wouldn't. That is the literal definition of ethnic cleansing, according to a UN definition of ethnic cleansing.
Why do you think that Trump is saying this? Do you think that he has some personal interest in cleansing Gaza, or do you think there might be some special interest group or perhaps religious or ethnic group that's, that maybe...
It's the Jews! Look, you know where she's going with this, right? It's the Jews! Watch.
Received money from them, and that's the whole reason why he wants to cleanse Gaza, or why do you think that is?
I don't do Donald Trump's motivations. I really don't care. My claim is that what he's doing is ethnic cleansing.
Well,
do you agree with that?
I would actually, probably agree, but I'm just...
You agree that it's ethnic cleansing? You agree with doing ethnic cleansing?
No, I don't agree with it, but I agree that's probably his plan. But I'm trying to figure out, why do you think that is? Because Donald Trump's a white man. He identifies as Christian. I'm not sure if he really is. But what interest does he have in preserving a Jewish ethno-state? Why would he have that?
It's a good question. You'd have to ask Donald Trump that question. I've got multiple views. I'm sure you have many views. I'm not sure I like where you're going with your views, but I think Donald Trump is definitely someone who's got financial interests in ethnic cleansing. He's got political interests. He loves the evangelical voters he gets. A lot of Christian evangelicals like to support Israel because they think Jesus will come back if all the Jews are gathered in one place with no Palestinians. I think he's going to make money, he thinks, from beachfront property with Jared Kushner. He said something similar in the past.
You think that's the real reason?
I think there's multiple reasons, yeah. I think financial, geopolitical, ideological, evangelical. I don't care. My claim is that what he's doing is ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing is a war crime according to the Fourth Geneva Convention.
Yeah, I agree.
It's against international law under the Rome Statute. So we shouldn't be part of that. The United States should not be supporting Donald Trump's plan for ethnic cleansing.
I agree.
Good.
What do you think should be done instead with the Israel-Gaza situation? I'm not sure what your stance is on this.
I would like to see a ceasefire in Gaza.
Two-state
I would like to
solution
see.
type
I don't
thing.
really get into debates about what solutions. I would like to see an end to the killing. I would like to see Gazans have freedom. I would like to see the Palestinians in Gaza somehow get their land back. 80% of Gaza right now is under Israeli military control or displacement. I would like to see freedom for the Palestinian people. I'm an American. To go back to the core of this show, I support American values. One person, one vote. Free speech.
It really is a religious and ethnic battle.
It is not a religious battle.
Yes.
No, it's not.
That is what it's obviously between Jews and Muslims. Both want control of the Holy Land.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
What else?
No.
What other?
Actually, the founders of Israel were secular. They were not religious, actually. And I think some religious Jews, like Bezalel Smotrich, who's the Israeli government minister,
it doesn't really matter.
is a religious fanatic.
My point is,
the core of the conflict is over land. It's colonial. It's historic. It is not about...
Vin, is Mehdi right here that a lot of evangelicals support Israel because they think it will trigger the rapture and all that? Yes. Yes. They believe that... the Jews have to be... Here's a crazy part. They believe that the land belongs to the Jews, right? And Israel. And that in the end times, the Antichrist is going to make a deal with the Jews for 7 years. And then in the middle of that 7 years, he's going to slaughter about 2/3 of them. So the evangelicals are literally, because, I mean, I've sat in churches while these presentations have been made. Evangelicals have funneled billions of dollars to get these people back into Israel. They're pro-settlements. They're pro all that. Knowing, believing. And a lot of evangelicals believe we're in the last generation. So they're literally sending these Israelis, these Jews, into the promised land, believing that 2/3 of them are going to be slaughtered by the Antichrist. It's insane. But yes, in order for their end time scenario to play out, the Jews have to be in Israel, basically in full control of Israel, in order for the rapture and all that shit to happen. So yes.
Colonialism is for a reason.
The people who want to steal the land want everyone to believe it's religious.
My point is, why are we sitting here? Why are we sitting here? It's like a false dichotomy where we have to argue, like, do Jews get Israel? Do Muslims get Israel? Why are we?
I've never brought up anyone's religion.
How many of us?
I didn't bring up anyone's religion.
How many of us here are Christians?
I didn't bring up anyone's religion.
Trying to pick sides between Jews and Muslims taking over Israel. Like, don't you think that?
Hold on. First of all, I didn't bring up religion. Second of all, you know that a lot of
No, I don't. There are Christian Palestinians, ma'am. They're Christians in Palestine. They just bombed a church and killed 3 Christians. One of them was a kid. It's nothing to... The ignorance is mind-boggling. Like, you read Palestine, it's automatically a Muslim. No. The problem people are having, ma'am, is that we're killing children. God almighty.
Palestine is a Christian, right?
Some of them.
You're just
yeah,
reducing it to Muslim versus
well,
Jew.
it's majority Muslim. Yeah, it's very.
But
small
there are many
percentage.
prominent
I agree.
Palestinian
Yeah,
Christians.
but there's not that many.
So
of
it's
them,
not
yeah.
worth
So
reducing
it
everything
is.
to religion.
Well, it is the reason. Why do you think Iran is backing proxies that want to take over Gaza and back the terrorism in Gaza? It's obviously because they want to Muslim control of the land. You don't think that's why?
No, I don't think it's about religion.
Is it?
I've been following this conflict for decades. It's not about religion. People who...
Well, I think the Iranians have a stake because according to Islamic theology, the Ummah, the Muslim Ummah, is one nation, and you're obligated. It's fard al-ain, means it's an obligation to defend Muslims wherever they're being killed. I don't believe that the Iranians want full control over the land of Israel, but they've got to do something to defend these people who are being massacred by these Israelis.
Say it's about religion, it's a distraction.
Well, it's a big part of it, I think.
I think it's become a big part of it. It's been weaponized by bad faith actors, sure. But I don't think that's the core. The core is that one group of people are dominating another group of people.
What group of
it is
people
apartheid.
is it? But what group of people is dominating another group of people?
One ethnic group is dominating another ethnic group.
What ethnic group?
Jewish people.
Yes, dominating.
Arabs.
Yes.
But I didn't say anything about Christian, Muslim, Jew in a religious sense.
Okay,
Jews defined as religion and ethnicity. You know that, right?
Well, why do you think that Muslims want control of the Holy Land?
You keep saying Muslims. I didn't bring up Muslims.
Well, they're Muslim states. Like, what do you think? Like Iran wants to do with the
I didn't bring
Holy
up
Land?
Iran.
But that's part of the conversation. What do you mean?
No, it's not. The conversation is Donald Trump is doing ethnic cleansing, and you agree with me. So I'm not sure why you're still here, to be honest.
It's part of the larger context.
It's a weird
of the
debate when you actually agree with me.
What I was trying to say is we kind of have this false dichotomy here where we're trying to take the side of the Gazans, which mostly it's a Muslim majority, or the side of the
human
Jews
beings who are suffering.
to try to decide who gets control over Israel.
I didn't say about control.
America,
I said don't ethnically cleanse.
Is a majority Christian country. Should we be deciding Christians should have control of the
I
Holy
agree. Donald
Land?
Trump should not, nothing to do with religion. Donald Trump should not be deciding what happens to Gaza. That's my claim. If you agree with me, great. Let's shake hands. Give the seat to someone who disagrees with me.
Are you saying, do you think that America should just cut ties with Israel altogether?
What's your definition of cut ties?
Like stop funding them, stop being their military arm?
Yes,
okay,
I'm on
great.
record saying
okay.
That was an easier debate.
This guy again.
Whoa. Welcome back, Richie. You really want to be here?
First of all, I really thought that obviously where we started, where it ended up, there's a lot of aggression. I can see in your eyes there's a level of exhaustion from being here. This is where my empathy comes in. Where it doesn't is, when you have a room full of people that do agree with you, we have this opportunity to come together. And you're kind of mocking people when they do. So you mocked Sarah a little bit when you guys clearly had a common interest and goal to reach. So I can tell you're agitated. I want to bring that all down. Please.
I'm guessing you're not going to, but let's see.
No, I'm going to. I do want to point out some contradictions. First and foremost, I don't believe you're pro-American in the value system that you claim to uphold, especially with free speech, if you're not willing to debate people that don't share your values. That's very un-American.
Do you believe Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing?
I don't believe it's ethnic cleansing, because it's not his plan.
It is his plan. He said it's my plan.
No,
Benjamin Netanyahu called it his plan.
He is obeying someone else's plan.
Here we go.
Who is he obeying?
He is obeying Israel's plan for the Greater Israel Project, of which this is one of those things that we can agree on.
Why is he doing that?
Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they have something on him. Maybe they have something on all Americans.
But you think it's a bad thing what he's doing?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
no,
Glad to agree with you.
But see, I don't want to shut down
I'm
the
not mocking you, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, perfect. But I want to take this opportunity, because I don't know if I'm going to get the opportunity again, to say, you're not American. First and foremost, you're not.
Remember when I said the agitation from you is not going to be lower?
What I'm saying,
you came to lower the temperature and then make racist remarks. You know that's a racist remark.
It's not racist.
You tell an American citizen.
But perfect. You just proved your own point. You just said that was a racist position.
Yes.
Earlier, you argued this contention that America has no race. It's a bunch of immigrants that culminate together into
America has no race.
You inferred it. You absolutely did. Okay. So now you're saying it's racist for me to take an American nationalist approach. You're kind of
an American national approach? Is that a white approach?
I think it's a white nativist approach. Of course,
so
absolutely.
only Americans are white people.
Why did your parents immigrate
Americans
from India?
only white people.
Why did your parents immigrate from India to the UK?
Because the UK colonized and conquered India.
Okay, why did you immigrate to America?
Because many reasons.
Okay, all opportunity. There's opportunity.
That's not true. You don't know.
The accent. Your accent is an affect of white Anglo-Saxon.
But you know there are 50 million Americans in this country.
I understand, but
none of them are Americans in your view.
What I'm trying to get you to do to reach a common ground here.
We're not going to reach a common ground because you said I'm not American.
Please try.
I don't think you're American.
I'm saying you're not.
I don't think you're American.
I'm saying you're not American due to values.
I don't think you're not American on values either. I think you're a little fascisty, a little racisty.
See, you're using these words. Okay, first of all, I want to say this.
I'm not just throwing them at you. You didn't come sit down and I said it.
Every conservative that has ever been shut down by leftists like you, for every conservative,
you're not a conservative. You've already said
for every right wing,
you've already said you're not a conservative.
Stefan Molyneux, Thomas Sowell, Nick Fuentes, all of those people.
Is Thomas Sowell American?
He's Australian. But that's not the point. I'm saying people that are on our side of the aisle that get shut down by people like you because you're leveraging this position of emotion.
You're joking, right?
No, I'm not. You're leveraging
you know
the position
on,
of emotion.
My side of the aisle is trying to deport you. The only shutting down is being done by you.
They're actually trying to genocide my entire race. So what are you talking about?
Wow.
What are you talking about?
You're a white genocide guy?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
You know the fact you're.
I'm amazed that Jubilee find some of you guys. How do they find you?
You're not sending their best.
Do you have Gmail?
Why are you trying to oust me? This
you
is such a
Costco.
cheap tactic.
Do you go to Nordstrom?
No,
all immigrants. Have you ever been on eBay?
No,
immigrants.
but
You love immigrants.
No, I'm agreeing.
You love immigrants when they're helping you. You just don't like the color of my skin.
We're having a different
All right,
conversation.
pause.
Genocide.
We're having a different conversation.
All right, you've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Okay. I really wish we could have.
They're not sending their
You
best.
live in white genocide, so it's very hard to.
You're getting white people are getting genocided in America? No shit.
Hey, how's it going?
What?
Nice to meet you. Hello.
So, go on.
I'll switch over to the Gaza thing in a second, but first off, I just wanted to touch on that. You said that you support free speech, of course, right? So what I'm confused about is you've refused to debate people that I've disagreed with you because you said that they're racist or they're fascist, right?
No. If we're going to do facts, they said they were racist and fascist. Get your facts right before you start arguing.
So isn't the whole entire point of a debate to debate people that you don't agree with?
I don't debate people who don't see me, A, as equal. No point. Or B, support democracy, because that would undermine the whole idea of the debate. If you don't support democracy, as our friend here doesn't, and support General Franco, then what is the point of a debate? The First Amendment doesn't mean you have to debate everyone. Somebody comes up to you in the street and starts talking to you. You don't have an obligation to carry on talking to them. I'm sure you go about your business. Somebody comes up to you in the subway and sits next to you and starts ranting in your face. So, you're not going to start debating.
So everybody here in the
everyone here has hygiene standards, as do you. There are people you wouldn't debate, I'm sure, as well.
Okay. So can you please describe why you think Trump is supporting ethnic cleansing of Gaza just because he wants to take over the land there? How does that equate to killing them?
Not just take over the land. Kick out all the people. That is the definition of ethnic cleansing.
So isn't ethnic cleansing killing people? Because it seems like you're...
No, you can ethnic cleanse people without killing them. And by the way, they have been killed. More than 50,000 people in Gaza have been killed by the Israelis.
Yeah, bro, if you permanently displace a group of people from a land and take the shit over, that's also a form of ethnic cleansing. It means that the land is cleansed of the particular people you want to get rid of. Okay? So, like, Europe was almost bereft completely of Jewish people. A lot of them were killed, but a lot of them just got out of Dodge, right? Poland, they got out of Dodge. That's cleansing. This guy is set up in a suit and all the rest of him, and he looks like he's got a good head on his shoulders, but these are basic ideas.
People like Bezalel Smotrich, who said recently, the finance minister of Israel, we are going to Gaza to conquer, cleanse, and remain. We're going to annihilate the place. We're going to disassemble Gaza.
Minister Smotrich was quoted as saying Israel will conquer, cleanse, and stay in Gaza to destroy Hamas. Jesus.
We're going to leave it behind as piles of rubble. That's the guy Trump's funding, supporting. That's the guy praising Trump. So yes, Trump and Smotrich are ethnically cleansing Gaza.
I cannot deny that thousands of people are dying in Gaza. But you need to realize, why are they dying? Is it possibly that they're attacking another country?
No,
just because
the people who are dying were not attacking another country.
Just because Israel is killing more Gazans than Gazans are killing Israel doesn't mean Gaza is righteous and Israel is evil.
I never said anything about evil or righteous.
Israel
I said ethnic cleansing. You said don't have to be killed. I said they are being killed. And the criteria for what's happening.
The Israelis just killed 30 people at an aid station, kid. What are you talking about? Smotrich was bragging about not a single grain was going to go to Gaza for aid.
To them. If Donald Trump says these people have to leave and never come back, is that not ethnic cleansing? What is your definition of ethnic cleansing?
I would think ethnic cleansing is when you're killing off a large part of an ethnic group.
That's genocide. You're confusing your terms. Ethnic cleansing is removing one ethnic group using a deliberate policy by violence or terror-inspiring means to remove another population, another ethnic group from a certain geographic area. That's the UN definition of ethnic cleansing. That is what he's doing. When he was asked Donald Trump, can they come back? He said, no, they cannot. That is ethnic. I've heard all these, we've had people talk about white genocide today. You guys are nationalists. How would you feel if somebody came, a president of France came and told you to leave your land and not come back? Would you not feel you'd been ethnically cleansed from your home?
From America?
Yeah.
Well, because my ancestors were settlers here, not immigrants. They actually
Palestinians are not immigrants in Gaza. They are indigenous people to the land.
Didn't Israel just give Gaza the land like a few decades ago?
No.
I'm pretty sure Israel used to have that land.
Didn't Israel give Gaza the land a few... Man, what the hell? Well, what is going on?
Pretty sure you're wrong. They withdrew from 2005 from the land, but control the air.
Gave it to them in 2005.
No, they don't give it to them. They control the air, the sea space, the borders, the population registry. They controlled what went in and out. It was a prison, an open-air prison. That's not giving them freedom.
Don't they have a border with Egypt and then the Mediterranean Sea?
Yes, and the Israelis and Egyptians work together because Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Yes, they're funded by the United States. Did you know that Muslim countries do bad things too?
No, I know that they do bad things.
Okay, then, so we're in agreement.
All right, pause. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you.
I got to tell you, I was shocked at the presentation. The presentation was of a person who was debonair and knew his shit, and this guy was more ignorant than the girl in front of him.
Oh, wow. Great.
Hello, sir. Welcome back.
See you again, Mehdi. All right, so I agree that Trump wants to do a cleansing, but not an ethnic one, because that area requires a lot of cleansing. Because when you have a population that was taught from early childhood age to hate Jews, Christians, and pagans, you need some serious re-education.
Number one, that's not true. And number two, that's not what he's proposing.
Well, I mean, most Palestinians, by polling number, do support Hamas.
They support resisting Israel.
Well, I mean, the thing is, what did they do in the first place that they're in this, what you call open-air prison?
Great question. What did they do to deserve being occupied?
Well, here's the thing, because the Islamic Republic in Iran is using them as a tool.
What has Iran got to do with this?
As a tool for their Islamic expansion.
When did the Islamic...
Because
hold on. When did the Islamic Republic of Iran... You're Iranian American,
yes.
I believe.
Yes, I am.
When was the Islamic Republic of Iran founded?
1979.
When was Gaza occupied by Israel?
Well, the very first time... 67, yeah.
So, can we do the maths together? 12 years before the Islamic Republic of Iran existed, Israel was oppressing, occupying, dispossessing the people of Gaza. So your argument makes no sense.
Were there any terrorist organizations at the time?
The PLO was considered a terrorist organization by the entire Western world.
All right, so was Hamas there?
Hamas did not exist till the 1980s.
Exactly. My point is, after the Islamic Republic came, it became chaotic because the Islamic Republic started to use the so-called innocent Palestinians for their own
so-called innocent Palestinians? You don't think Palestinians are innocent?
Not all of them.
Because what about the 17,000 children who were killed?
They're doing the
17,000 children were killed. Were they not innocent?
Were
they not innocent?
Who's responsible for that?
The Israelis.
No, Hamas is responsible. Hamas is responsible for hiding in hospitals and making tunnels underneath those hospitals.
So when children are shot in the head by Israeli snipers are not responsible for that?
Look,
it's a simple question.
Here's the problem.
When Israeli snipers shoot Palestinian children in Gaza in the head, as eyewitness testimony and doctors' testimony proves, that's not the fault of the Israeli snipers.
See, this is the problem, because when you have
the problem is you won't answer the question. I'll ask you a third time. When Israeli snipers shoot Palestinian children in the head, is that not the fault of Israeli snipers?
Well, you gotta let me finish.
No, you gotta answer the question. Fourth time.
Well,
when Israeli snipers shoot Palestinian children in the head, we're running out of time. I need to know what you think about innocent children. Because what you said was pretty outrageous. You said so-called innocent Palestinians. For the fifth time, when Palestinian children are shot in the head by Israeli snipers, is that not the fault of Israeli snipers?
What did those children do?
What did they do? Tell me, did the children deserve to be shot in the head?
Because the problem is,
millions of people are watching you say
they start brainwashing children. They start brainwashing children at a very young age.
So you support sniping children in Gaza?
Look,
do other people here support sniping children in Gaza? Is that a conservative position now?
What if they're wearing a suicide vest?
They weren't.
But what if they are?
They're not, though. Dozens of children. I have friends who went there. Doctors went to Gaza. American doctors. They came back as we had multiple children.
What if they're
hell bent?
What if they're hell bent on killing you and your family?
A 10-year-old child, an 8-year-old child, a 6-year-old child.
Because
this is
like
bad
you said,
for you.
Like
You're
said,
sitting on
they're
live television where millions of people are going to see your neighbors, your friends. You support the killing of children.
Millions of people don't know what's going on.
Even your fellow right-wingers are saying, don't go this far. White genocide, sure, but don't advocate
millions of
killing
people
kids.
don't understand the brainwashing that is going on in Islamic Republic.
So
and
you
in
need to
Palestine.
shoot them in the head because they're being
Iran so
brainwashed.
much that
Holy
you're supporting the killing
shit.
of Palestinian children who never harmed you or any other Israeli. That's insane.
Get this
and the
guy
fact
the
that you support
fuck off
Trump's
the
ethnic cleansing now
stage,
doesn't
bro.
surprise
I
me.
didn't say ethnic cleansing. I said cleansing of the
Get
land.
him off.
Because you need to cleanse
I'm
the land
sure-
from all
I'm
the
sure
tunnels.
Slobodan Milosevic
Alex,
said similar stuff.
You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Don't shake his hand, Mehdi. Man. Oh,
good to see you again.
my man. This is my favorite guy.
First thing I'm going to say is I'm not down for Israel. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to say. And I don't like when you come up here and you use the type of rhetoric that you do. You talk like all of these like left-wing positions, and then you go to the last part, which is I don't support ethnic cleansing in Palestine. I think you're doing a huge disservice to pro-Palestinians when you start allying yourself with all these progressives. I don't think it looks good because you have all these conservatives in here who oppose war. They oppose intervention in the same tradition of Pat Buchanan and all the greats that came
Not
before
Donald
him.
Trump, though, sadly.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. I do agree. I mean, he ran on an anti-war ticket. He said he
lied
was
to you.
going to... I didn't...
Because he lies, right?
You gonna let me talk, or you
Sorry.
just want to? Yeah, true. So, I mean, yeah, you keep going back to Trump. I don't think this is part of his plan. I think this is a plan of lobbyists, and this is not just unique to Trump. It's been a thing since the Democrats. It's been a thing since the Republicans before him. It's been like this since Truman. I don't know if you read like John Mearsheimer's The Israel Lobby
have.
or anything like that. Would you
I have.
agree or disagree with anything like that?
Oh, I agree with Stephen Watt and John Mearsheimer, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
great. So I'm just wondering, when you ally yourself with all these leftists and you come up here and you argue for immigration, you argue up here that Trump's this bad criminal and this and that, and then you
think Trump's bad too?
I think he's good on some questions and bad on other things. But let me get to the point here.
He's a criminal, though. He's a felon. He is a criminal. That's not rhetoric. He's a criminal. Like, I mean, I also think Joe Biden's a criminal in the moral sense. Obama is a war criminal, but like Trump is an act. He was judged guilty by the college of his peers. Like, he's a criminal.
Ally yourselves with guys like Jewish Voices for Peace and all those guys.
Great people.
Yeah, not really though.
Why?
Because they're self-interested in it.
They're not. By definition, they're not.
It says it on their homepage.
By definition, they're not self-interested, right? They're going against their own
Are
community.
you going to let me talk? On their homepage, it literally says that we are here to segregate Judaism from Zionism. It's very clear they're doing this in their own interest. That's why it literally says Jewish Voices for Peace. They're going to be the good Jews who say that we don't support.
There's nothing wrong with doing things in your own interest if your own interest is the morally correct thing to do. If I tell my kids, if you guys don't have your beds made by 9 o'clock, nobody's playing Fortnite. They are doing a good thing with their own self-interest. I don't know if this guy's religious or not, but Jesus talked about being rewarded all the time. So to dichotomize a moral good with a self-interest is not a Christian idea.
Support Palestine. And then what happens is you take all these progressives, you go out there and LARP in the street, and then everyone here who's conservative, they're going to vote for the pro-war candidate because they don't want to be associated with all the
Oh,
liberals.
so you're forced to vote for pro-war people. Poor
It's either that or get
conservatives.
replaced in my country. What do you want me to do?
Oh, you and your replacement bullshit.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
Oh, wow. There's 3 people so far. Let's keep counting. We should be nicer to you, otherwise you'll deport us. What a great argument. This is a free speech debate camp. It's not your country, my friend. It's our country, whether you like it or not.
I hope Mehdi chooses that kid again. He's too emotional, but he's the most well-read kid there, and he's got a point. He really does. He did a good job. This is just more JQ obsession. Sad because his previous bit on immigration was great. Yeah. This last part wasn't his best, but his immigration thing, he went toe to toe. He did a good job, but he got too emotional, and Mehdi jumped on that and was able to throw a bunch of dust in the ear, and the kid bit it. If the kid would have remained calm, he would have really, really put the screws to him. I hope he picks him again. I'm assuming he's going to pick the fascist so that, it can end on, look at this fascist, but let's see.
I thought Kai was. He smiled. He laughed. He did it. We disagreed. He did it. I felt like it was good faith. Let's see.
I appreciate it, man.
I mean, no homo, but this is a beautiful brother. I mean, he's extremely attractive guy. We continue.
He seemed to be in good faith. He seems kind of smart, and he's one of the few people who doesn't want to deport me. Or maybe not. We're gonna find out.
I'm pretty sure he wants
to get rid
to
of
deport
birthright
you.
citizenship.
Why do you want to get rid of birthright citizenship, and how, by the way? Because it's in the Constitution. I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yes.
Because it was one of my...
The 14th.
14th. I mentioned it to a bunch of your friends, and nobody wanted to engage in the 14th.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 14th Amendment,
Exactly.
the Citizenship Clause, which says that if you're born here, you're a citizen of the United States.
Yes. I chose this because it's an extension of the original debate and the immigration debate.
Okay.
I think birthright citizenship, first of all, when it was originally argued, among the people who were actually voting on the clause, right? It was argued that the birthright citizenship was not automatically extended to everybody who was just born here. And we have a long history of that as well, for example, with the Native Americans, who had particular laws that applied solely to them.
Yep.
What I think we're seeing in this country is not everybody is so similarly under the jurisdiction thereof of the United States, right? And by allowing for birthright citizenship and not interpreting the Constitution as we're legally allowed to and restrict, the automatic citizenship of anybody who's born here, we actually remove the issue, for example, of family separation, because there is no incentive of a family to come over to this country illegally and then have a child, which is contributing to the awful situation we have in America of breaking up families. This is not something that I imagine you or I agree with.
No.
The issue is birthright citizenship has incentivized that.
So even if I were to concede that in some cases birthright citizenship has incentivized that, that I don't like the phrase anchor babies, but I'm not naive enough to pretend that there are not immigrants who come here and time the pregnancy in order to get. Of course, you and I can agree on that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you then rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries, goes back before the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment came about, I think, in 1868, if memory serves me correctly. But the principle underlying it is actually from my other country, the UK, ancient English common law, right? So this was always the case. The 14th Amendment, as you know, because you seem well read, came along and codified what was already a principle in American and English law, that if you're born in the country, you are a citizen. Now, you mentioned the point about jurisdiction. There is that little bit in there where it says subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That in the debate, if you go back and read the debate that the senators had at the time, they were very explicit that that was to do with foreign ministers and foreign ambassadors, diplomats living in embassies. Their kids shouldn't be citizens. Obviously, they're here on their own. The Argentine embassy in DC is Argentine soil. So we accept all that.
Absolutamente, amigo.
But when they were asked about Chinese immigrants, Senator Trumbull, who was, I think, the chair of the Judiciary Committee back in the 1860s during this debate, he said at the time, Chinese immigrants' children, they're citizens. In fact, 1898, as you well know, we get Wong Kim Ark, Supreme Court case, Wong Kim Ark versus the United States. And the Supreme Court says, yes, even the child of undocumented Chinese immigrants is an American citizen. So this is a principle going back centuries. So while I can agree with you that there are cases that abuse the 14th Amendment, that there are issues of family separation, I'm not going to rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries and is backed by 27-year-old Supreme Court precedent because Donald Trump is looking for ways to cut the number of brown and black people in the United States.
If you don't mind me interrupting, this is where I think it's important as well to go back to what we talked about with the Constitution. When we're analyzing, and admittedly, I'm not as interested in the legal argument. There's obviously many ways to interpret the Constitution, but I don't think, especially among conservatives, that it is positive to use the Constitution to dismantle it. When we analyze the original context, like you were saying, in the late 19th century, our immigration law was absolutely different, including, in respect with the Irish and Chinese immigrants that were coming over. It was absolutely different.
We had open borders, my friend. Some people in this room would hate it. We had open borders for half of American history.
Well,
America had mostly free and open immigration in its early days, but started enacting restrictions in the 1880s that included the Immigration Act of 1882, which levied a tax on all new immigrants and blocked the entry of lunatics, convicts, and persons likely to become a public charge. So some eugenics here. We continue.
I don't think that's very true.
It's 100% true.
Well, hold on. If you're comparing the open borders, which I don't concede to, but if you're comparing the open borders prior to like 1910 and prior to the Hart-Celler Act, and you look at the amount of immigration and who was coming over.
Nice deflection. Amount is irrelevant. We did have an open border.
It is absolutely relevant.
Why?
Because
Hey, Nathaniel, I presume that you're watching from the Rewind segment. Yeah, whether it's morally wrong is a different discussion as to whether or not what he said violated the Constitution. The argument was that Trump was violating the Constitution of free speech by his own speech. That's the problem. That's the problem that I have. So whether it was morally incorrect, whether we say, look, you're a leader, there's supposed to be a higher standard, I completely agree with all of that, but that's not the same thing as violating the Constitution. Especially as an American, he has the right to speak as well. Good point, so.
Constitution, like the founding
fathers. Hold on, your argument is we had open borders, but there were fewer immigrants.
I was about to answer. Okay. It's important to analyze the context wherein these laws and parts of the Constitution arise. The original founding fathers said the Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people and is wholly inadequate to the government of any other, which means the people that wrote this document understood that it would not be able to properly...
Super secular people, let's just be clear on that.
Oh, no, that's not true. They were deists.
A lot of them were super
No,
secular.
the majority were deists.
But they were secular. Secular doesn't mean atheist. You know what that means.
I understand that, but deist doesn't mean secular or atheist. It means they believe in a God, but not a God that's particularly present.
I didn't say anything about whether they're deist or theist. I said they're secular.
Okay, but secular
means you separate church and state.
Okay, well, let's talk. We could even talk about that. That's a perfect example.
You're going to run out of your own time making your argument, which you haven't made so far.
I understand, but the separation of church and state is now completely differently understood than originally proposed. Thomas Jefferson, who talks about the wall of separation, which doesn't even exist in the Constitution, understood it in a different way.
Supreme Court precedent, as you well know.
Yeah, sure, but the precedent of the last 100 years, wherein the country has been completely different from its founding, should not overrule the original intent of the people who wrote the document that you and I are both citing. Okay. Which means,
but I'm not locked into what the people who wrote that. We've had amendments to the Constitution. You know that, right?
I understand that, and this is our fundamental disagreement: is that I don't believe
you think you can read the minds of people in the 1770s.
That's not true.
I'm stuck.
I just believe this country ought to be more like the country we originally had, and I don't.
Yeah, I think that's just a terrible argument. I think that we don't need to read their minds because they wrote things, and I believe that it's possible to understand what they wrote. And you were appealing to the founders and all the rest of it earlier in the show when you had the fascist on who hated the Constitution. So. This kind of slippery postmodern thing doesn't really work on these kinds of issues, man. The way that leftists have applied the Establishment Clause is ridiculous. The man quoted, he just said a moral and religious people, and then the guy's talking about super secular people. I don't know how you could reconcile those two statements. We continue.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
I understand that.
But there's a factual basis to it.
Well, let me try to see what you believe.
Okay.
If we are voting on these constitutional amendments, if we are interpreting them, and our interpretation becomes absolutely, let's say, a 180 from what the original intent of the authors of that document is, are you in favor of that?
I guess it depends on the issue.
Okay, I would say no matter what.
So, for example, take the Second Amendment, which we kind of danced around. It's not been come up here and there.
Yeah.
You know the debate about.
Listen, if the founding fathers could have imagined a world with Barack Obama, they would have codified slavery, race-based slavery, into the Constitution. I'm a Christian. I only believe that the Bible's inspired. All the other shit is not. So, it depends on what specific issue we're talking about here.
Second Amendment is the fundamental debate is one side says it's unlimited, and the other side says no. What they meant was the militias.
Yeah,
they didn't, and they had muskets. They didn't mean AR-15s, right? So we can have that endless debate, which I really don't care for about that. But to come back to your point about the constitutional principles, the 14th Amendment comes along in the 1860s, so it's pretty old. It's not as old as America, but it comes along, and it's been around for 150 years. So if you want to get away with it,
it was around before 150 million Americans.
And I'm saying it was around before the United States was even created. It's part of ancient English common law. If you're born in a place, you're a citizen of that place, unless you're the child of a foreign diplomat or on a Native American reservation.
English common law did not exist simultaneously as millions of people coming across the border in a year.
Just to get to principles, your argument is numbers change everything because we've got so many more people.
Not solely, but absolutely.
Okay.
The demographics of your immigration absolutely change it.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? If you got rid of the 14th Amendment, what would be in its place?
I think a citizenship test would be fantastic.
What age?
I wish.
What age?
I think we could administer it in high school.
To everyone?
Sure.
Or just the immigrants?
No, everybody.
And then if you fail it, you denaturalize white American
maybe
native born?
Maybe you can't get a government job.
Denaturalize that dude?
I think there's plenty of benefits that the government offers people that you should not be able to receive.
I'll tell you this, right? This might sound bad,
and I think
people care for me anyway. So let me say something you might not like.
I'm not against that. I just don't think that a lot of the people in that room would pass that test, man. The white folks in that room, I feel like You're the only one that would pass that civics test, bruh. Holy shit.
Nobody would pass it.
If you have a high school immigration citizenship test for everyone,
I think people will take citizenship more seriously.
I'm guessing the immigrant kids are going to outperform the white kids, and you might actually
100%. Not even close. Not even close. As I said, I'm an immigrant. My older brother's an immigrant, and we've done shit for this country you would not believe. He's still doing it. He's still doing it. The white girl I married took me out of the game, but I should probably screen cap this guy because he's so offended. But bruh, you would be the first one to get deported, bruh. Like you did not perform very well. They are not sending their best. Holy shit. You can't say he didn't violate the First Amendment because the judge overruled him. The judge said that he violated the First Amendment. That's why the judge overruled him. I get your point, brother. But the point of that is to say, if he submitted to the judge's decision, that's how democracy is supposed to work. That's why we have judges, and that's why we have recourse to those judges. So if he defied what the judge said and didn't allow for that to happen, then fine. But that's not what happened. So his argument was, because this dude refused to use the term Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico, he was communicating information that was fallacious, and because of that, he wasn't practicing good faith journalism. And so the judge said, okay, let's take that into account and compare to that Constitution and see how it shakes out. And when it shook out, it turned out to be, nope, this is a violation of the First Amendment. Reinstate the man. The man was reinstated. This is exactly how the process is supposed to work. So I don't see that as a violation of the First Amendment unless he just completely dishonored what the judge had to say and wouldn't let the man back in. But the AP is now back in business. So I look at that as I'm actually proud of that whole process as an American. This is a very rare instance in human history where a man who's clearly an egomaniac and narcissistic, etc., still had to submit to powers, quote, higher than him because of the very unique system which our fathers came up with, which we should be proud of. That's one of the proudest moments we had as Americans. That's how it works. That's a good thing.
End up denaturalizing some of the white kids, and then people here will be really upset.
And well, hold on. And I like to be consistent about this. That's possible. But what I think it would do is it would give everybody a larger sense of the importance of citizenship.
So you would say one born in this country is a citizen? No one?
Automatically no. Automatically no.
Wow.
I think we could extend that. You know, people who have a heritage in the country
what
of
are they until they pass the test? Undocumented?
I suppose, yeah. They're not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to apply for these jobs.
But their parents are citizens.
Okay, well, hold on. We're talking here about the way that we would implement it.
Yeah, it's pretty important. If you're trying to get rid of the 14th Amendment, I'm going to ask about the practicalities of it.
And we're not
Trump's doing it right now.
And I'm not going to be able to explain it to you in 10 minutes. But what I can explain to you is that right now in this country, we have a crisis of people not hold on. We're not understanding what citizenship is. The way that you've referred to citizenship makes everybody who hasn't come to the United States an undocumented American citizen until the time they come over here.
That's how a lot of countries are, right? You know that birthright citizenship is operated by multiple democracies around the world. I know Trump lies and says, we're the only country that does it. He lies. That's not true. Multiple countries have
Do you think it
birthright
ought to be that way? Do you think everybody in the world is an undocumented American?
So, hold on. Well, or undocumented Canadian or undocumented Brit, right? Or undocumented.
Sure. Well, I'm an American, so I say America. But yeah,
but I'm saying, right? The principle is you immigrate. We have free movement of people around. I support free movement of people around the world.
But do you believe they're all?
Are you Kim Jong-un? You think people should only stay in one country and never leave and be blocked from leaving their country?
I think there's.
Yeah, but he's talking about the status of citizen and the rights and benefits that get conferred uniquely on a citizen versus a non-citizen. That's not the same as Kim Jong-un. Come on, man. You're not going to get this kid like you got the other kid. That argument, Mehdi,
illiberal, unconservative position.
I think there's a big
libertarians
there's big
and right
room
wingers
to
support
there's
freedom.
big room to move between being Kim Jong Un and saying that
Not
it means,
really.
hold on,
In practical
and-
terms,
hold on,
if
let
you
me finish.
accept-
I gave one side. I
Please.
want to give the other. There's a big room to move between being Kim Jong Un and saying that everybody in the world is an American. They're just not on our soil yet. I think
I mean,
being
that's
an
a
American
ridiculous
citizen,
statement, right? Because everyone in the world is not heading for the United States of
Yes,
America.
yeah, but
in fact, right now, numbers of people coming in, dropping off.
But the idea that you are supporting is that the moment you come to this soil and that you're born here, you
Yes.
become an American. And
So
I think,
I'm not saying at the moment you come to the soil, you become an American. I didn't. I had to do the test. Right?
Okay.
I had to do the naturalization process, which is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment.
But
the 14th
think-
Amendment also says if you're born here, then you automatically get it. And I'm not saying,
And I think the problem
I'm not saying
we
it's a
have,
hill I'm going to die on.
the
right?
problem we have
All
is
I'm saying to you
we
guys,
don't
what do you do
appreciate
instead?
we don't appreciate citizenship. The problem is that when you talk about immigration like we
we
did
could
before,
agree on that.
when we talked about
we
everything
could
before,
agree on
what
that.
were we talking about? We were talking about products. We weren't talking about practices
But
or
Kai-
perceptions, which is really what
But Kai, can I agree
immigration
with
is
you?
about.
Can I agree with you? We don't in this country value citizenship enough.
I agree.
I think we should.
That's a good question. If everyone's an undocumented American, what exactly is an American? Yeah, to make the leap from that very challenging question to Kim Jong-un is ridiculous, Mehdi. Terrible, terrible argument.
Encourage people to have more civics lessons in schools, understand American history and Constitution much more. Here's what's the irony is, I'm sitting in a room today where I've met a bunch of people claiming to be Native Americans who hate everything America stood for centuries.
I think they stand much closer to the America that we originally had, and I think
don't
that's
think
a big
any of you
disagreement.
lived there or had any clue what that was like. And
But
there
you've
were a lot of-
agreed
and there were a
to
lot of horrible
dismantling
things
it.
about that America.
But you've agreed to dismantling that America as long
You
as
have.
it's legal.
You have. You're the person who came here and made your argument.
I'm a
taking
constitutional
Taking
originalist.
away an amendment of the Constitution. I didn't. I said keep the Second Amendment.
I'm an originalist. I think we should interpret it the way it was probably originally interpreted.
All right, guys, that's time.
Nice to debate with you, Kai. Thank you
good
very
to meet
much.
you, man. It's good to
Appreciate
meet
it. I thought it would be an interesting exercise in trying to understand what genuine far-right conservative folks think. And it was kind of disturbing to see that they think what I thought they think, and they were happy to say it out loud. I am disappointed that I had to sit across from people who believe in white genocide, who believe I'm not a citizen. Multiple people here said I should be deported. One of them was even the child of immigrants, which I found bizarre.
Obviously, we were way outclassed. Like, we're not professional debaters. I don't think anyone in this room was. Maybe one or two people. And clearly, Manny, he does this for a living, right? He's a journalist, so he's really good at what he does.
Did he call him Manny? He didn't call him Manny, did he?
What genuine far-right conservative folks think. And it was kind of disturbing to see that they think what I thought they think, and they were happy to say it out loud. I am disappointed that I had to sit across from people who believe in white genocide, who believe I'm not a citizen. Multiple people here said I should be deported. One of them was even the child of immigrants, which I found bizarre.
Obviously, we were way outclassed. Like, we're not professional debaters. I don't think anyone in this room was. Maybe one or two people. And clearly, Manny, he does this for a living, right? He's a journalist, so he's really good at what he does.
Mehdi Hasan was pretty good at, taking cheap shots, trying to derail people from their arguments, trying to pit me against, some of the people that wouldn't like people of my color to be in the United States, which is irrelevant.
I think one person said as he walked off, "You'll be the first to go," which is ominous and racist.
I think that was disheartening and particularly discouraging because it just felt like it was fitting into a stereotype that we're trying to fight against, which is like we actually have arguments, we can provide good reason, and that rhetoric just pushes that far away.
I am, I guess, a far-right Republican, but as I learned today, not as far-right as I thought I was. Someone gets up and they're just like...
Just felt like it was fitting into a stereotype that we're trying to fight against, which is like we actually have arguments, we can provide good reason, and that rhetoric just pushes that far away.
I am, I guess, a far-right Republican, but as I learned today, not as far-right as I thought I was. Someone gets up and they're just like, yeah, I guess I just want to have autocracy forever and Christian nationalism, or just being like, yeah, I'm racist. And to me, that's very foreign of a concept.
While I didn't, disagree with most of the people in the circle, it did bother me at times, to see them say mean things. There's not really a reason to do that. But it also upset me when Mehdi said, I'm not willing to debate with those people.
Free speech doesn't mean you need to give credibility or oxygen or a platform to people who don't agree in human equality.
I hear Mehdi's point about not giving them a platform, but the thing is, if you stop giving them a platform, they don't just go away and change their mind. And then you tell the rest of society no one exists who thinks like that, and that's not true.
I do like to debate people, even people I disagree with. I try and avoid bad faith folks. I think some of the folks today were bad faith. I'm anti-conservative, right? I don't support conservative.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Citizenship doesn't need exclusively need to be tied to ethnos. I mean, good night. You could buy your Roman citizenship Rome had a pretty good delineation of what a Roman citizen was. You don't need you don't need to have an ethno-state to define citizenship. Holy shit. Hold on, let me finish what Mehdi was saying.
Views on taxation. I don't support conservative views on immigration. But the people here today were way beyond conservatives. This is open authoritarianism. And this is what is being normalized and mainstreamed in our country by people in power, by the media, by people who don't know any better.
I don't know if that's being normalized, man. Even the people that were commenting, were like, I don't know, I didn't like what they were saying here, and there. So I don't know that. Look, at the end of the day, I'm a YouTuber, and a lot of this shit is about clicks, and you obviously have to vet these people, and it's clear that they wanted to get some of the most sensational people possible, and I'm somewhat fine with that, as long as you intersperse it with people who can provide an actual rebuttal and a reasonable alternative. Like the kid in the pink shirt with the hat. I thought he did a great job with the immigration wages thing, but he just got too emotional. The last guy, obviously, was a little bit older, a little bit more mature, knew his stuff, had his own kind of established worldview and philosophy. I guess the comment section saying that he's in the Fuentes camp or whatever. So I wish they would have, even if you're not going to half and half, at least put 30 to 40%, maybe a 60-40 ratio of people in there that really do know what they're talking about, so you can have a debate instead of these cartoons. We had the Incredible Hulk out there. We had the fucking guy saying he's a fascist, the guy saying he hates the Constitution. I do not believe that the vast majority of right-wingers, even, what is it, the Groypers, the Nick Fuentes people, I don't believe that the vast majority of those, I got a good friend in the chat right now, he's one of these people, who's probably a racist, whatever, but if you brought him in there, he would make a compelling argument. I'm not saying he would convert you to his philosophy or his way of being, but he would be able to articulate it in a way that's factual and philosophical and rational. I have a hard, I understand that there's people that think like some of the weirdos that we just saw on the show. I know that. I do not believe that the people who hate the Constitution, want to get rid of the Constitution, want to establish an autocrat to rule over them and massacre people, that I do not believe that that's being mainstreamed at all. I don't believe that. I think that a lot of the far-right conservative folks are more like the last guy, only not as intelligent. Okay? That's what I believe. I don't believe that the vast majority of them are like that. That is... Maybe I'm naive. But I just don't believe that. I'm very... I don't believe it. Well, look... Angel, America still makes that divide too, right? I mean, good night. Just because they don't officially make that distinction doesn't mean the distinction isn't there. But you could still be defined as a Roman citizen, even if you were part of a different ethnicity. I think borders, language, culture makes the most sense. I think that when you get into ethnicity, it becomes very difficult. What does that mean? So somebody who was born and raised here is less of a citizen than somebody who was born and raised in Europe because they share the same ethnicity? What? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I understand the fear of the browning of America that a lot of Anglo-Saxons have. You know, like that shooter over there, the El Paso shooter, was terrified because he was looking to a future where he had to compete with Mexican students. And he said in his manifesto, these kids are really smart. And so the life that I had, I am not guaranteed anymore. So I understand that kind of fear. And I'm also for, as long as white people are the super majority in the country, I'm for making sure that they could still maintain the as long as they have the numbers, I'm for making sure that the institutions would favor them, because hard times make hard men, right? And then hard men create good times, and good times create soft men. And I think there's a certain demographic in this country that are really soft, and so when soft people get faced with hardship, people die in bunches. So I do think that we need to make sure that those sensibilities are cared for the sake of the entire country. But the idea that you can unite a country around an ethnicity, I think, is crazy. And I think the ideal, I think uniting a country around specific ideals is a much better way to ensure hegemony, actually, than ethnicity. So that's my take on it. And I think Peter Thiel, actually, if you look at some of Peter Thiel's philosophy, although we've never talked about Peter Thiel either personally or on the channel, I think if you look at Peter Thiel's philosophy, that's kind of the next kind of iteration after the death of the nation state. No, because I don't believe that what the Romans did. I don't believe that what the Romans did was right, and I actually think it led to their downfall. Actually, because you're not going to fight as hard for the state if you make those kinds of dichotomies and distinctions. So, for example, when you have Louis Farrakhan up there talking about how you had black soldiers in World War II that fought their ass off for this country and had their brothers die in their arms, and they sat in the back of the train while the Germans, which, let's go with your ethnicity stuff, while the German POWs were up there shooting the shit with white American soldiers. The next time there is a war, and now you got a guy like Farrakhan saying, why would you join the military to protect this country when they're going to treat you like that? Because that's your ethnicity stuff right there in clear relief. And eventually, you're going to have an all-hands-on-deck situation, but now you've got a fractured country because we're no longer united on ideals. We're united around ethnicity. And the enemy that we were all just fighting together, you are now putting them above us because of ethnicity. I think that's forget the moral aspect of it. I just think that that's impractical, right? That especially in this context where if America got in a situation where we had a near peer, that's the big fear that everybody used to talk about, is a near peer combatant. In the intelligence world, you have whole swaths of people that are fit for the picking because of this bifurcated system of acknowledgement of citizenship. So because of that, you've got vulnerabilities all over the place. Obviously you've got corruptions and things like that. But in the same way that we go to countries and we have operatives and things of that nature that sow discord based, and the number one way that you can turn somebody into an agent is the animus they have against perceived or actual inequalities in the government. So I think that's a terrible idea from a battle space intelligence perspective. And I also think that we've got some adversaries that are extremely intelligent, and it is something that I could tell you is a fear and a worry of a lot of people in the intelligence space. It's a really deep fear. And I think if the Romans would have done a better job of ensuring that everybody who actually pledged allegiance to Rome was treated that way, they'd have been in a much better situation. Biblically speaking, when somebody converted to Israelism or Yahwism, not going to say Judaism for obvious reasons, there was the line, you shall treat them as native born. Right? So that's, to me, that is not only the most godly and moral way, but it also has to be the most intelligent way to get a confederation of people from different races, ethnicities, whatever, to go in one direction is through the ideal. Now, their particular ideal was through the religion, and then the identity that you got out of the law. But again, it says, you shall treat them as native born. And then you had a case study on this with Uriah and David, and God applied it. And so I think if you think about the ramifications of what would have happened with a Uriah figure, for example, if justice was not meted out at an equal level, what would have happened to the nation at a practical level when it comes to warfare? That would have been a disaster. Absolutely disaster. There's a difference, though, between mass migration, right, Angel? There's a vast difference between mass migration versus citizens who've pledged allegiance to your country and fought and bled and died for your country not being treated equally because of ethnicity. Simultaneous to that, you have other people who were against your country, who wanted to destroy your country, but because we're applying your ethnicity scale, now those people get treated better than the other people. I think that would be disastrous for hegemony, and I think it would lead to your downfall. Yeah, well, it could, but there are specific instances where it did not. We don't know how Uriah came to be, but what I'm saying is, if we applied your ethno stuff to Uriah or to Hagar, it would have been a disaster. And I think that's one of the reasons that, like I said, the Roman Empire was not able to keep itself together. The Israelites, when they left Egypt, were actually a nation of immigrants, because it says that a whole entire mixed multitude went out of Egypt along with the Israelites and were absorbed into the Israelite community, to the point where by the time you get to Sinai, there is a completely, there's almost no distinction between them. But good points. Okay. I will say that Mehdi Hasan, for the most part, swept these people up. I think that Jubilee made these selections largely in part to get us to do this. If there was an actual intellectual debate with actual people that knew what they were talking about, it wouldn't be as sexy. You're not going to get a thumbnail, which I'm going to screen cap some of my own reactions, because I was floored by some of the shit that these people said. So it's all well and good, you know what I'm saying, relative to the clicks in the YouTube game. But I really do think that there are some really cool conversations that could have been had here. But if you're trying to get me to believe that the vast majority of right, even far right people believed what that crazy Catholic guy said, we're going to have an autocratic dictator and get rid of the Constitution. There's like 3 or 4 people that talked about getting rid of the Constitution. Then I'm sorry. I'm just not with you. But I also think that Mehdi used a bunch of cheap debating tactics, which I'm very well aware of, because I've done debates. And there's tactics you can use if you're a seasoned debater, and he used them. Particularly if you go back and watch when they were talking about the economic ramifications of immigration. That kid really had him. He really, really had him. And I was really, really interested in what that kid had to say. And because the kid caught him flat-footed. Yeah. We'll definitely talk about it, Angelson, in text. And I want to send you a document that I wrote. It took me about 3 or 4 weeks to write, but I wanted to get your take on it. It's kind of like a Kalam argument, but relative to subjectivity. But text me. Yeah, like, I really, really wanted to hear what that kid had to say. But Mehdi got caught flat-footed. The kid had him over a barrel. And because the kid let it out that he was so emotional, Mehdi harped on that, and the kid got emotional. He burned out his time, and then the people, I'm sorry, were not intelligent enough to see that they needed to keep the kid on and tell him to calm down. If I was in the audience, I'd have been like, calm down, kid, and say what you have to say and try to convince everybody to put their flags down. But Mehdi dodged a bullet there, right? But I will give him props for bringing up that last guy again, because the last guy did have some points and really said some things that made you think. And I really, 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 really appreciate that. So shout out to Mehdi for that. But that, I'm sorry, but you cannot convince me that maybe I'm naive. I could be naive. I doubt that I'm naive, but I could be naive. I just don't believe that a lot of right-wingers think the way that a lot of these people think. Most of the far-right people I know of would die for the Constitution and would smack the living you-know-what out of you if you spoke out against the Constitution the way a lot of these dudes spoke out against the Constitution. I mean, there was some real nihilism and civic apathy about the freaking Constitution. It boggles my mind, man, because it's rhetorical, but I know people who died over this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's about upholding the Constitution against enemies, both foreign and domestic. So, I'm never going to believe that the vast majority of far-right people are anti-constitutionalists. So, that's that. I also believe that most of Mehdi's points were too narrow to establish the points he was trying to make. So, for example, saying that Trump was pro-crime and pro-criminal by appealing to the pardons, I think is just... that was too narrow of an action, especially when you pull back to the way that pretty much every American president has used pardons in my generation. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that where it's like, oh, and then, oh, he's against the First Amendment. Why is he against the First Amendment? Because he didn't want the AP to be at the press room. Like, I'm sorry. It's not against the First Amendment. I'm sorry. If anything, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the press thinking twice before they put something out about this man. I don't care about defending Donald Trump. I don't care about attacking Donald Trump. What I do care about is the truth. And the press got away with publishing lie after lie after lie after lie for 4 years. It completely and totally divided and destroyed our country. We haven't even talked about the effect on Russian and Russian Americans in this country that Russiagate foisted upon them. It was absolutely horrible. Rachel Maddow was an absolute scandal of journalism. That woman still has her job. She faced no accountability. So, I understand the AP guy, blah, blah, blah. It's violating his free speech. He gets to come back in and call it the Gulf of Mexico if he wants. That's fine. But I'm glad that news organizations, when they're talking about Trump, now there has to be an editorial process to make sure that what's being said about him is true. Because I don't give a damn about Trump per se. Well, I do give a damn about him. He's my leader. You shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people. So I care about Trump. But to me, the principle is you cannot print libelous and knowingly fallacious information about a president of the United States because you hate him and divide and destroy and ruin this country. And all those people did that, and they faced zero consequence. Not a single one of them faced a legitimate consequence But Americans on the ground had to deal with a divided country, a president being accused of treason, and then we had COVID in the midst of all that craziness. It was horrible for us, y'all. And they never got held accountable. So I felt like that was his worst argument, was the First Amendment stuff. All right, guys. Much love to all you beautiful people. Angelson, stay around your phone because I want to send you a document. And let me know. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know what you would tweak. Because I'd be really, really interested to see what you say. I'm about to submit it for publication. So I wanted a couple people to critique it before I submitted it for publication. You see what I'm saying? All right, guys. Much love to all you beautiful people. We're out of here. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Middle America, we are the media. Till next time.